where he done an absolutely brilliant job on him. So, you know, now and again, he can really keep a winger quiet, and he has that great ability to get forward as well.
The headlines are hard to read. He's got the X factor. What he gives us is something really special. Jordan Henderson on all the slander put on Jude Bellingham's name outside of the England camp. So what fuels it? Only last week, Darren Bent told us he's uncomfortable with it too.
Right, we've got a habit in this country of building players up and completely trying to knock them down. When Rooney had it,
Rooney.
Beck's had it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But people have had it where they've reached a certain level where they've almost gone past that top tier, and people are like, right, it's time to bring them down again.
England kick off their World Cup campaign live on talkSPORT on Wednesday evening, remember, and today's coverage begins with Cucurella's Spain against Cape Verde right here at 5 p.m. It'll be the victors and possibly Donald Trump, if he fancies it, on the podium for the World Cup trophy lift on July the 19th. FIFA have confirmed they won't stop the US president repeating his Club World Cup stunt and mooching about with the winners. Looks like Man United are about to save a few quid. Ruben Amorim's understood to have agreed to become AC Milan manager. That would massively reduce the compensation United have to pay him for his sacking. Amaro Itoje has once again been left out of the England squad by Steve Borthwick, despite an enlarged 33-man group being selected ahead of the non-cap international with France on Friday. It follows speculation the captain might be stood down for the summer schedule, with tests against South Africa, Fiji and Argentina to come.
talkSPORT News.
The Prime Minister says he won't compromise on children's safety and happiness as he confirms a social media ban for under-16s. And the price of crude oil has dropped almost 4% after the US and Iran announced a framework for peace. We've got more with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Sort your new tyres this summer at a time that suits you best from the comfort of your home or work 7 days a week with our mobile tyre fitting service. Conditions apply.
A risk of some showers moving north and eastwards. Warm in any sunshine, although cooler on the east coast.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is how to win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Good afternoon, UK, and good morning from New York. You're listening to Jim White and Simon Jordan. We are live on talkSPORT. So, a bumper weekend of World Cup action, but is the tournament really worse for expansion? Meanwhile, was Marc Cucurella out the Chelsea door the very moment he flapped his gums? Also today, are Isak and Potter in for a redemptive summer? Was it imperative Iran were present at this World Cup? Paul Pogba gives us his take on Manchester United's title hopes under Michael Carrick. Plus, as Scotland open with victory over Haiti, should they be feeling delight or a tinge of regret? It's Jim White and Simon Jordan, and we are live on talkSPORT. Good afternoon, everybody. Back home, we are live from New York City. It rained all night here, but it's going to be another cracking day, we are told. Here we are on the 50th floor of the World Trade Center as we embark on our second week of broadcasting right here from the very centre of the city. Simon is with me, and so too as we are still trying to get used to life in New York. Simon has lived here, so he knows what that's all about. But this man is now a New York resident with a Brummie accent. Troy Deeney is with it. Mr. Deeney.
How are you guys?
Good morning, New York time. Good afternoon back home. How are you?
It's great. It's great to be with you guys again. met this guy again in the lobby, and he's already started, so it's going to be a good show.
He started in what way?
He started straight away, yeah. So he said, look, you've put a bit of timber on. I said, I know. Enjoying the food, enjoying the sodas, but, we're getting back on it.
How is life as a New Yorker? Are you enjoying it? Are there upsides and downsides?
Yeah, interesting. We've had a baby recently, a little girl, so that's number 5 for me, and officially done. Officially out the game now. So, enjoyed it, sleepless nights, and then been watching you guys from afar as well, and really disappointed that no one's really stuck it on this fella, so I'm going to try. I'm going to try. He keeps bullying people. So,
Get out of it. Do you know what? I heard Troy in the build-up to coming on air. He's in the mood for you this morning. I like that.
Well, he's developed a backbone after that miserable attempt on 3 up front with me and Graham Souness. He's got a bit of chutzpah about him. And, of course, moving from Forest Green to Forest Hills is a big translation for him. So
absolutely.
He must be very pleased
I'm around a lot of his thoughts now, a lot of venture capitalists, a lot of rich people. I'm used to how they talk now. They bully. You've got to give them a bit back.
Do they want you to broadcast in a certain way out here? I mean, you're with CBS now.
Well, if they do, then they're getting it wrong.
They're going to be very disappointed.
Yeah. They said, can you speak properly? I said, I'm from Birmingham. So I've sent them, like, Gabby Bunglehor.
Do you use subtitles?
No, they put Gabby Bunglehor on and, like, bloody hell, you speak proper English. Yeah, so it's good. So had some fun.
Troy, great to have you with us. Simon and I are still trying to get over the walk from the car once we rolled up to the stadium on Saturday to see Brazil-Morocco. The walk to the stadium.
Nightmare, wasn't it?
Have you ever known anything like that? We were saturated in perspiration once we got to the stadium.
Not the easiest of stadiums to get to. Obviously, we were very privileged to go into some very nice accommodation inside the stadium, courtesy of Nasser El Khelafi, so we had a great view.
Yeah.
But subject to a driver that wanted to pass us fully as fog and take us around the world in 80 days, which drove me insane.
Sure, you'd be fine at that.
I was well-mannered and well-patient. but we got there in the end.
Simon, I've got to say, the MetLife Stadium, the view we had, the Brazil fans, the Morocco fans, it was one goal apiece. But it was stunning, wasn't it? As an experience. I mean, you've seen many, many games around the world.
It was.
That's up
as
there,
a spectacle. I mean, I could just see past Hakimi's mum's backside as she celebrated one of their goals, But the actual view of the stadium,
it
was just right in front of him. They jumped in.
He's right, Troy. We were in with the Hakimis.
Okay.
And Hakimi's mum was celebrating in a big way when Morocco went 1-up. And he's right. She was all over the box,
Absolutely
wasn't she?
Right. So for the MetLife, they closed all of the parking, right?
Yeah. No, you could park there if under FIFA guidance you paid $350. So I'm beginning to move on from this guy that's defending FIFA about their costs because it fuels the the ecosystem to being so much directly affected by it now.
Yeah.
And subsequently going, hang on a second, that's a bit expensive, that's a bit wrong.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like any rich person we know, does it?
Troy,
bad of the people, this guy.
We knew on Saturday night we were in New York, I have to say, because after we took in Brazil-Morocco, we charged back into the city centre here. Could we find anywhere that was showing Scotland-Haiti? No, we couldn't. It was wall-to-wall.
Should we find it?
Well,
Should we find
I was dragging him along with me. We eventually settled for a restaurant. There we are. I mean, if you're watching live on YouTube, this was what Saturday night was all about. When the Knicks secured the NBA championship title over San Antonio Spurs. And it was the Knicks and only the Knicks. You get used to this, Troy.
No, it was a bit mad, I'll be honest. The city the last month has been crazy because obviously the Knicks haven't done great for, I think,
53 years.
Yeah, 53 years since they won it, but I don't think they've got to the final since the late 90s as well. So there's been a buzz, been a real excitement for that. Loads of watch parties, the kids have really enjoyed it. But no one really wanted to watch Scotland anyway, Jim, unfortunately. I know you wanted to.
You start.
I'm just saying,
wasn't no great loss,
wasn't a skeptic. One of those guys you're like, oh, right, I really have to watch it. I'm glad they won, though. For you, I'm glad they won.
And thank you, Troy.
No problem.
And can I just remind everybody in the studio as well, they did win. And Brazil drew with Morocco.
So top of the group.
Top of the group.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll get to that later on. Mark McGee, who Simon and I had a meal with last night here in this city. Mark was on co-coms for talkSPORT, and Mark McGee is on his way into the 50th floor of the World Trade Center, and he'll be joining us shortly. Expansion, Troy, of this tournament, Simon, to a 48-team World Cup. I tell you what, UEFA President Alexander Seferin has dropped himself right in it. The football associations of Cape Verde, Curacao, Uzbekistan, just to name a few, very unhappy, Troy, with Alexander Seferin over here when he said, we have a lot of matches that are completely uninteresting. On the other hand, even small countries can participate and feel the pulse of the World Cup, which is a big thing. They have hit back very, very hard and saying, we respectfully but firmly reject these comments from Seferin. Has Seferin got a point, or are these other nations here and here on merit?
No, they both have got a point. Two things can be true at one time, right? The games we're watching aren't always to the level that we would expect. When you think of World Cup, my mind goes, the best of the best of the best are all playing there. And I look now, and again, this is not to make it personal, but a lot of the lads I played with at Birmingham City, ex-Birmingham City players, there's 13 of them at this World Cup. Now, they struggled to play for Birmingham City 2 years ago. They haven't got that much better as they've got older. So they're all playing in this. It's great for them. It's great for the cultures of certain countries, like Curacao, Haiti. It's wonderful stories.
Yeah.
But when I talk to World Cup, and when I think to World Cup, I think the best of the best playing against each other. So I understand where the FIFA guy is talking about it. I also understand from the Haiti or the Curacao point of view of like, hey, we've earned it. No one gave us this right.
I mean, Simon, it was always going to be quantity over quality. It was always going to be that way. There were 48 nations competing.
It was. I'm not entirely sure what business it is of UEFA's, in the same way that they virtue signalled to give the young referee who had an unfortunate set of circumstances, and we know was well rehearsed, an immediate gig. And we know why they did that. It's not because they're the most wonderful, caring organisation. It's because it gives them some point at FIFA's expense. Of course, if you bring a tournament that has 48 teams around the world with minnows of nations, you're going to have an element of quality degradation. But by the same token, FIFA's responsibility is to produce a global game. And if the global game benefits from countries that are not on the main roster being able to get some additional funding, get some additional opportunities to compete at high levels, then what you do is you produce a conveyor belt of players around the globe, which in the long game produces more opportunity for more clubs to have better players rather than the big clubs being able to snaffle all the players because they can fill their rosters easy.
Yeah.
So on one hand, I don't think it adds to the currency of the elite playing the elite, to go to Troy's points. On the other hand, in this world that we live where everyone's got to be kind to one another and benefit everyone else, then I can see the merits of it. And these countries getting an opportunity. And really, what's the harm of it? If you don't want to watch something, you know what? Don't watch it.
But they have earned their right,
Simon.
They have earned their right to be here, right? No, they're not a host nation. They've got here.
The question is, do they enhance the product?
Yeah.
And that's always going to be the question. I would suggest probably not from a broadcasting quality point of view, because there's going to be some games here where some teams are going to get, hopefully yours, are going to get properly pumped by significant opposition.
Well, Germany 7, Curacao 1.
There you are.
Now, we've had score lines in the past, but that was in the qualifiers. This is the finals, Troy, and I kind of get what Seferin is saying. This is the business end of the World Cup.
Yeah.
So should we really, at the World Cup finals, be getting a scoreline of 7-1. That's his point.
Yeah, I understand that, and that's where I'm saying two things can be right, because I totally take it. When you're watching that game, it felt like men versus boys at time. But then on the other side of it, when Curacao scored, did you see the reaction?
Yeah.
Did you see what it meant to all their players, all of their fans?
Yeah.
You know, that's the bit.
We have seen this before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Didn't we see England beat the Panamanians or the Iranians 6 in the last tournament? So we've seen this kind of score before. It kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, what you don't really want, and you're not going to get, is that once you get into the knockout stages and the world becomes engaged, you see the minnows just being offered up as sacrificial lambs. There's no benefit to anybody there, but I suspect most of them are not going to be there, even in a situation where most people can qualify.
And I also suspect, Simon, this will be the last of the expansion. You know, we will not have...
How do you row back from it? No. How are you going to row back from it? Have you ever seen a tournament reduced? We've seen tournaments expanded.
There has to be a limit, Simon.
No, they're not going to get bigger. They're not going to get 64 teams.
No.
You don't think?
You think they'll go to... I don't think they'll go to 64 teams.
I didn't
think we'd get to this point.
They'll stay as they are.
I think so.
Yeah, I just think with the way that things are going, again, you know the business side of it much better than myself, but the numbers are good. why would they continue to stay at this? They'll only ever get more because there'll be a
it'll be fascinating to see because at the end of the day, broadcasters have a certain amount of pocket space, and if they see the numbers that come through from this World Cup and they see the participants from the lesser countries, they're not going to sell them international packages that are hugely beneficial to the overall broadcast deal. And if the advertisers in this country suddenly see that no one's watching Cape Verde versus Saudi Arabia, then they're not going to buy the advertising spots.
But what about the shirt sales? What about the ticket price? All of that?
They're 2 and 6, aren't they?
Sure.
Yeah.
There's
a great scheme of things.
There's Hakimi's mum. Tell Simon to do one.
Tell her makeup artist to do one. That's great. I'm just saying, I was there.
Just a step too far.
Simon is speaking solely for himself.
Troy, we were working all weekend, as well as taking in Brazil-Morocco. Yesterday, we were out there down at Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Love Brooklyn, right?
Brooklyn Bridge, lovely.
Absolutely great spot. I was in conversation with one Paul Pogba. Remember him? You're going to hear from him later on. He talks, amongst other things, and you're going to hear from him at length tomorrow. But he talks, amongst other things, about Michael Carrick and what Carrick may or may not do at Manchester United and what United may or may not do in future weeks and months. You don't want to miss that. It is Monday morning. It is June the 15th, and we are in New York City. It is 1:15 back home in the UK. And as always, now stress this, we're coming to you live on YouTube, and with a backdrop like that in this wonderful city, then it's just as well we are live on YouTube. The scene here is phenomenal. It really is. The sun is coming out. It's going to be another great day here in New York. And myself, Simon and Troy are live on talkSPORT. Stay with us.
I think when you look at Bellingham, especially like the last game, you know, he started the game and within the first 10 seconds, he had pressed the ball and he went out for a throw-in, and that sets a tempo, doesn't it? But something about him, Neil, I'm with you. It's like he knows that this country should be winning World Cups, and he's got that bite about him when I watch him play.
It's just the arrogance. I love the arrogance. I must tell you, when he was at Birmingham, I remember playing against him. I think he was 16 years. I had a good, tough lad in midfield, and I said, listen, you're playing against a kid tonight. Just sort him out. Just, you know, normal thing. Get stuck in, and he'll not want to know. And he actually ran the game, and I was watching him. I was thinking, bloody, I've never seen anybody like this at that age.
No,
you know, he's amazing. He was.
You need the character. See, people sometimes in football, you need an arrogance about you. All right, and to do what he's done at an age that he is, go to Germany. Now he's gone to one of the biggest, if not the biggest, club in the world, and he knows he feels like he belongs there. That takes a certain confidence and arrogance. And I think sometimes, Neil, it can be misinterpreted by the public. That there's an arrogance that they don't quite understand.
No, I think it is by the public, but I think managers, you want that bit of arrogance from players like him, because if you're going to win anything, your top players have got to come forward, and he's that one that when he's on fire, he knows he can do anything he wants in that middle. And I just love that, mate. I just, you know, I watched him in that 90 minutes, and I thought he was the one that really pleased me more than, even though I'm glad that we've gone back to the wide lads. I love the wide lads. You know, Gordon, Mediocre, Saka, Rashford. In playing them four, they could win us the bloody cup if they all get the finger out.
I think as well for me, Neil, you know, in the last 6-7 months, all I've heard is, from some people in the media, idiots, I might call them, Bellingham. No, you know, look what Thomas Tuchel said. You know, he's made other players feel like they can't play, the pressure he puts on them. I'm like, if you're a senior pro and Bellingham's affecting your game, then you need to have a word with yourself, because
Hi, everybody. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney, and we are live on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First up, Toolstation. Monday morning, New York City. Now, it's a beautiful one. I hope it's all good wherever you are back in the UK. And it's 1:20 on Monday afternoon back in the United Kingdom. Real Madrid, we are told, have completed the signing of Marc Cucurella in a deal worth 52 million. Cucurella was one of the first signings of the Todd Boehly Clear Lake era when he joined from Brighton in a deal worth up to 62 million, including add-ons. Let's get more on this, and we're going to head to Texas, where we find talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook. Alex, how are you settling into life in the US?
Good morning, guys. Settling in very nicely down in Houston at the moment. You can see the stadium behind me where Germany hammered Curacao yesterday. I know you guys have been debating whether results like that make a mockery of the fact there are so many teams at the World Cup. I can see that argument, but I've got to say, being inside the stadium, seeing that blue wave of Curacao fans when the smallest nation ever to qualify for a World Cup scored against the mighty Germany, I think maybe there's an argument to say, do you know what? Everybody is welcome. But yeah, settling in really nicely.
You know, the two gentlemen I'm with back here in New York, they both say a very good morning to you. One Simon Jordan and one Troy Deeney. Mr. Crook is looking well, is he not, Troy?
Sure. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you.
I'm good. Good to have you back on air.
Yeah, it's nice to see you actually do some work for once. Normally you're hungover at this point, so it's good to see.
Unbelievable.
Don't listen to that.
Change.
Alex, let's get into it. Marc Cucurella, Real Madrid, 52 million quid. Well, do we remember after Chelsea were humbled by Paris Saint-Germain, the same Marc Cucurella came away with, I understand this is part of the club's policy and that they want to take this direction. Young players, in other words. And he says, signing young players and looking to the future. But for all of us who are still here and want to win big things, moments like this make you feel discouraged. Now, one wonders, those comments, they landed him in a bit of trouble. And we spoke about it at the time, Alex. Have Chelsea lost a disruptive influence or one of their best talents?
I would say the latter. And I think if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be a bit concerned by this transfer, because you look at the numerous players that have been signed since Blueco came in. I think there have been many more misses than hits. I don't think that's unfair to say. Marc Cucurella has certainly been one of the hits. It doesn't feel like a lot of money for one of the best left-backs in the Premier League, one of the best left-backs in Europe. And you wonder now what knock-on effect it will have with Enzo Fernandez in particular, because, of course, around about the same time that Cucurella started making noises about wanting to leave, he made it public, Fernandez, that he wanted to leave the club as well. So, yeah, the start of what I think could be a really interesting summer, and a penny for the thoughts of Xabi Alonso, the man tasked with restoring Chelsea to their former glories, getting them back into at least some form of European competition next season, if not the Champions League, which I think would be the aim. And he's lost one of his key men before his feet are already under the manager's desk. Yeah, I mean, Troy, clearly Cucurella was saying at the time that he questioned the direction that Chelsea were going in. Was he right to do that? Would you have done it? Would you take on the owners behind the scenes?
Behind the scenes, yeah. I think you can have conversations, behind the scenes. I think when you make it public. I also think as well as an element with Cucurella and with Enzo Fernandez, I've said this for a little while now, you weren't playing good enough to talk. So shut up. I hate when players, this new generation of player is, when things are going well, tell me how great I am, pat me on the back, go on social media, tell you how great they are, the fans are wonderful. When they lose, it's, oh, well, not me. It's the manager, it's the owner, it's the board, it's all of these different things. I was here a year ago, Club World Cup. They were absolutely loving it. I actually was invited to the after party when they won, saw all the guys, having a great time, it was wonderful. Fast forward 8 months, Simon, it's, oh, I should have got rid of that manager. It's like, come on. You were part of that problem. You were part of the issue. For me, I think it's twofold. If you're Real Madrid, I don't like that back line that they could potentially have now with Dumfries from Inter Milan. He's obviously been injured a lot. Good player, injured a lot. Canate, centre-back from Chelsea. Rudiger, sorry. Yeah. And now him. That doesn't give me a back four line that says, right, we're ready to compete on the biggest of stages. Sure. And then the other side to it for Chelsea, they've got Hato, who's a young kid who looks mustard. But that's a leader that you've lost, and we've said for a long time now they don't really have real leaders.
On Cucurella, you would have pulled him at the time, Simon, wouldn't you, if you were if you were goalie around Bally?
I think you've got to look at the entire mix of things. I would suggest that the perception inside Chelsea was that the existing manager was potentially getting players to say certain things because of his own dissatisfaction and agitating where he was likely to have gone. I am in no way concerned about how long Real Madrid continue to flounder. The longer they continue to flounder, the happier I am, because I think they're an arrogant club that needs to be brought down a peg or two, and by their lack of achievement over the last couple of years, it does do that. So who cares whether they've got a good backline or not? I mean, look, it's an interesting one because he had renewed his contract. So this wasn't a contract that was running down anytime soon. He had 2 or 3 years left on his contract. So to go for the kind of dough he's got, yes, there is the contribution to profit. So if you look at where he is now, if he's gone for 52 million quid, they've probably banked 30 million quid for profit because of the nature of what they bought him for, how that's depreciated and what they're selling him for. I would suggest we can't have it always, right? It wasn't so long ago that everyone was dancing around in the media suggesting that no one wanted to work for Blueco. They've gone and got one of the best managers now around that people didn't see happening. They've got him. I would suspect that Alonso has been consulted about this sort of decision, has been involved in the process. So I would suggest that he was moderately comfortable with it, and we'll see where he goes. Because I don't think, despite the fact the owners will be strong about what they want, you don't go and get someone like Alonso and expect him. He's not a championship manager that's been given an opportunity to land in the Premier League and get some hubris after winning the World Club Championship. He's a guy with big currency, big reputation, despite the failings at Real Madrid, and that's probably to do with the dressing room, his inexperience. Yeah. And so I would suggest, don't worry about Cucurella. He's a loss because he's become, when he started there, he was bloody awful. But he's become a fan's favourite because of his performance.
Let's head back to Houston, Texas, and Alex Crook. Alex, Ruben Amorim, we remember him back in the game, but at AC Milan, is that right?
Yes, looks like that deal is going to happen. He's been linked with various jobs, Ruben Amorim, in the last few weeks, including a return to Portugal with Benfica, including Fulham, actually, who we might come on to. My understanding is they did sound out Amorim about a return to the Premier League, but he quickly distanced himself from that. So AC Milan looks like his next destination. That's good news for Manchester United because, of course, the latest set of accounts coming out of Old Trafford revealed that they were paying Amorim and his coaching staff somewhere in the region of £16 million compensation as a result of sacking him. As soon as he gets another job, that reduces considerably. So it's a saving for Manchester United and a return to the dugout for Ruben Amorim. I'm fascinated to see how he does over in Italy.
So are you, Simon, but you're somewhat shocked, are you?
Well, it's a blind leading the bleeding deaf, isn't it? I mean, did anyone not watch what he was doing at Manchester United? OK, he had a wonderful time in the Portuguese league, but in the last 12 months you saw a club of scale. AC Milan might not be the club of the late 80s, mid-90s when Ruud Gullit was paying for them and so on and so forth, but they're still a big club with a lot of exposure and a lot of reputational expectation. So let's see how he features there. I mean,
I think as well,
I don't know.
Two points to that. The first point is, I don't know how you could give Alonso that grace when we saw what he did at Real Madrid or didn't do at Real Madrid, because there's still a coach there. But you look a year removed and say, OK, he's that. I think the similar can be said with Amorim, because I think Man United is a mess, but we'll get onto that a little bit later. But then when you talk to... We cover Serie A a lot. Remember, with 7 games to go, 8 games to go, AC Milan were 4 points behind Inter. They dropped from 2nd to 6th. Well, 7th, sorry, out of the...
Do you think the Bundesliga is a better league than the Portuguese league?
Yes.
Right, so then you look at the performance of Alonso in that environment, which was absolutely unique, to go an invincible team that he produced and the manner in which he produced it. And then you take him into Madrid, a club in chaos, a club that's got presidential issues. You've got a dressing room that's been rumoured to be all over the place with Mbappe and Bellingham, and he couldn't cope with that dressing room.
But a lot
in the same way that Unai Emery couldn't turn around Arsenal. In the same way that AVB couldn't break up the dressing room with Chelsea, with John Terry and Frank Lampard and Ashley Cole getting the better of him, all that sort of stuff. I think you give Alonso a pass on that.
But would you not say normally that it's on a manager to go in, either stamp his authority or realise what he's got to work with, and figure it out? I
agree, but I think there's one space in the world that you can find yourself in a difficult place, and that's Real Madrid.
Yeah, that's fair.
One line from you, Alex, and we'll finish at this stage. Alvaro Arbeloa to Fulham. Is this happening?
I think so, Jim. Certainly heading into the weekend, I was told that talks had really ramped up and were positive. Again, this feels like a bit of a gamble from Fulham when you look at what happened to Arbeloa when he replaced Alonso at the Bernabeu, but I guess you could make the same sort of excuses for him that Simon has been making for Xabi Alonso. They've spoken to a lot of different options, have Fulham, since Marco Silva decided to leave and go to Benfica. Ange Postecoglou, Thomas Frank, even Frank Lampard. That would have been a controversial move from Coventry for the former Chelsea man, but looks like ultimately they've come down on Arbeloa. And again, this is a tough gig. Marco Silva, 5 years at Fulham, has stabilised them now in the Premier League. And you just wonder what sort of coach Fulham are getting. We don't really know enough about Arbeloa from that short spell at Real Madrid to predict if this is going to be triumph or disaster for Fulham.
Alex, good to see you and to hear you. Thank you so much. Alex Crook with us live from Houston, Texas. It is 1:30 back home in the UK. We'll take a short break. We're live on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First up, Toolstation.
Another question that I constantly get asked is, what is the difference between Thomas Tuchel and Gareth Southgate? And obviously you had Gareth Southgate in 2018, and there's the argument to say without the success that you had from 2018 to 2024, we wouldn't have Thomas Tuchel necessarily in charge of the England squad. So from your point of view, what is the difference between the two, and how is Thomas maybe taking it to that next step as we've progressed?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, a fantastic job Gareth did in all that time, reconnected England national team with the fans in 2018. That was a big challenge, and we stepped up, and the manager and the staff at the time stepped up and rose to the occasion. We never got the final, but we reconnected with the fans, and that was Gareth's main out of that tournament. That was what we needed to do. I know we wanted to dream big and wanted to get to the final, but that journey we came on as a group of players, that's driven us to now. You know, that them stepping stones to get to the final with and fall short in the final to get quarters in Qatar, fall short unfortunately, then get to another final against Spain. Then that created, but then the squad evolves. The manager evolves, and the manager now, Thomas, he's a winner. He drives winning mentality. He won at Chelsea. He wins where he goes, and his passion, his desire. I think two different managers with great respect in the game, and it's not a bad word to say about.
Marc Cucurella has officially joined Real Madrid, just under 52 million quid all in, and he's signed a 6-year deal. Here's Alan Pardew, who can see why he was a wanted man.
There's been a couple of times when he's been up against, I think Yamal was sticks in my mind. I mean, Yamal, where he done absolutely brilliant job on him. So, you know, now and again, he can really keep a winger quiet. And he has that great ability to get forward as well.
Now, the headlines are hard to read, but he's got the X factor. That's according to Jordan Henderson on all the slander put to Jude Bellingham's name. So what fuels it? Only last week, Darren Bent told us he's uncomfortable with it too.
People calling him overrated, saying he's not good enough. Some people saying he shouldn't start for England. Now, I can't understand that. I don't understand how you think Jude Bellingham, the moments he's had for England, big goals. Even the other day, he didn't score, but the way he plays when he gets on the ball, he creates things. He's done so much in such a short space of time.
Meanwhile, it'll be the victors and possibly Donald Trump on the podium for the World Cup trophy lift, as FIFA have confirmed they won't stop the US president repeating his Club World Cup stunt. Elsewhere, it looks like Man United are about to save a few quid. Ruben Amorim's understood to have agreed to become AC Milan manager, which would massively reduce the compensation United have to pay him for his sacking. And Maro Itoje's once again been left out of the England squad by Steve Borthwick, despite an enlarged 33-man group being selected ahead of the non-cap international with France on Friday.
Good morning from New York. Good afternoon back home. It has just gone 1:30 back home in the UK. We are in New York City. If you're watching on YouTube, that is the jaw-dropping stadium, the MetLife Stadium, where we were on Saturday night to watch Brazil draw 1-1 with Morocco. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney this Monday morning in New York as we look ahead to all things World Cup. There may be a war on involving the United States of America and Iran, but in terms of the World Cup here in the US, Iran are here. And Iran begin their World Cup campaign this very day against New Zealand in Los Angeles. My talkSPORT colleague Ben Jacobs comes to us live this morning here in the US. He comes to us live from Miami. Ben, hi to you. I think overnight you were in a news conference involving the Iranians. What was that atmosphere like?
Yes, good morning. So we spoke to Mehdi Taremi, who plays for Olympiacos, and of course the coach Amir Khalanoy. And before the conference started, it was made clear to all assembled media, no political questions. But of course, we still put scrutiny on the two gentlemen in front of us. And I asked both of them, Taremi and the coach Khalanoy, whether they feel let down by both FIFA and the US government. And the coach told me that although he didn't want to get drawn into wider politics, the disruption from moving the base camp from the United States of America to Mexico had been problematic. Now, Khalanoy added that he's deeply grateful to the hospitality of the Mexican people, and yet he was worried that maybe the impact on the World Cup might be apparent, starting with this game against New Zealand, because there's been a lot of upheaval. There's been some visas rejected for some of the coaching staff and officials as well. And we'll find out today whether or not that, plus a late arrival onto American soil, impacts the football, because this is a game for Iran that they are expected to win against New Zealand. Now, in addition to that, being on US soil presents other challenges such as security, and my understanding is that there will be protests against the Iranian regime from some Iranian Americans living here in Los Angeles, so there won't be unilateral support necessarily from those American Iranians for the Iran national team, and some of those fans will of course be in the stadium. So we're going to be looking out for some protests in the build-up and some banners potentially, even though FIFA have tried to stop them, inside this Los Angeles stadium. And remember, Iran against New Zealand, it's their opening World Cup game and it's live on talkSPORT.
Ben, that's interesting. So Simon, clearly for the first time, as Ben says, Los Angeles is home to the largest number of Iranians outside of Iran, and they are in the mood to protest. Some of them have promised, quotes, to make hell around this match. For the first time, we're going to see how the US authorities here deal with off-field protests, and it could be quite substantial.
Well, we'll see, won't we? I mean, this is the first situation where we've seen the real issues of geopolitical challenges around the world representing itself. I mean, people can talk about the circumstances surrounding the Somalian referee, but you're going to see people outside stadiums that are going to have very strong views. Interesting thing is that there's a perception in most of the media classes that the outside of Iran, that people are very much for that regime, and now you're seeing the reality of it. If you listen to, I used to listen to the radio stations in the UK where you've got Iranians phoning in saying we really dislike our regime, whilst our British press are saying actually the regime in Iran is this, that and the other. Now, whatever we think of the situation surrounding the US and Iran is irrelevant. This is a football tournament. It'll be interesting. I would suspect that we will see them handle it properly and appropriately. The difficulty for the Iranian team is the difficulty of it. Unfortunately, the circumstances are what they are. It's, I don't know, am I being mean-spirited? New Zealand are no real opposition in real terms. So the Iranians building in their excuses early for a poor performance is a cynical mindset. But he's a player. If you had a circumstance where certain officials around the team weren't allowed in somewhere, is that going to affect your performance on a Saturday afternoon or whenever they're playing?
Unless it's the actual manager who's telling you what to do and picking the team, then it don't really matter. It's just another one less voice, actually, in my opinion. But I also think as well, overnight, if we're not seen, there's been a deal done with US and Iran, so that should lower the temperature anyway, because it seems like they're moving towards some peace from a political angle. But for me, from a purely football point of view, whether we're in America, whether we're in Mexico, it's still the same thing. We're in a bloody hotel that we don't want to be in. We've got to get the job done that we had to do anyway. And if we let our fans and our families down, doesn't matter if we was in Mexico, US or Canada. We still got to get the job done. So essentially, it's just a lot of noise outside, Jim, personally.
I understand that, Troy, but the noise is significant noise. I mean, Ben, for the first time, it's going to be interesting to gauge the reaction when the Iranian national anthem is played for the first time here on American soil. What do you think?
Yeah, so in the US men's national team first game against Paraguay, the Iran flag came out along with all of the other countries for the tournament, and there were some boos in the stadium, but those were Americans. And now, as you say, you'll have the Iranian Americans, some of them inside the stadium, and I think it's going to be a mixed reception. We've spoken to some American Iranian fans, because Iranians that have wanted to fly in and just watch their team, even if their paperwork would have been cleared and they've got no ties, it's basically a blanket ban. So we're predominantly dealing with American Iranians, and a journalist put his hand up and spoke in Farsi during the press conference, and he said that LA is actually known as Tehrangelis because there's so many links back to Tehran. So we're definitely going to get a sense of the mood, and my expectation is there will be some boos. My expectation is there will be some banners. FIFA are trying to stop them being inside the stadium, and we're going to join in the build-up to the match some of the protests which are starting in downtown LA, and some fans are walking all the way to the outside perimeter of the Los Angeles Stadium, even though they don't have a ticket, and their intent is to boo the anthem. Their intent is to protest, but they're not going to be inside. So this is where FIFA will hope that the football does the talking, the stadium inside, the match goes without hitch, but outside, I still think that tensions could rise, including in the fan park.
Yeah, and obviously, Ben, those protests will get maximum media coverage. Simon, what was the lesser of two evils here? Having Iran at this World Cup with increased scrutiny, or not having them here at all?
Well, each one of them has its own cause and effect, doesn't it? It's consequence. So I think it's, I mean, I could make a case for either. I could have made a case for them, for the Iranians being excluded, or I can make a case for them to be included. I mean, when we're talking about national anthems being booed, don't we regularly have this inside stadiums in the UK? Yeah. Aren't we regularly commenting on XYZ fans at domestic finals?
The boxing, the Saudi flag.
And we, you know,
but hang on, there's a war on. There's a different temperature here, Simon.
Sure, but we'll see, won't we? Inside a football stadium, it'll be interesting to see the makeup and the composition of the crowd, because if you've got Americans booing the Iranian flag when there's Americans in the stadium watching an American team, it'll be interesting to see how the makeup of this particular fan base is when it goes inside the stadium, because it'll be a mixture of the two countries that are playing and people that are able to go and watch this game. I think I'll be surprised if we see any huge instances. We might see a lot of noise, but as far as the football match is concerned, which is the primary focus of what we should be talking about, I don't think it will be that dramatic. I think it'll be a poor game to watch.
Ben Jacobs, Ben in Miami, thank you very much for joining us. Just before we leave it, Troy, if you're an Iranian player, the pressure is immense, I would have thought, to go out there and perform. To put it mildly, there is a lot in the minds of these players.
It's subjective, right? Because you are ultimately at the root of it, playing a game. If there's a war going on back home and you've got friends and family, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be able to go, hey, I'm struggling here, I've got to go and play a game in front of 60, 70,000 people when there's wars going on back home. So I think it's subjective. For me personally, I just think what's happened overnight feels like it's taken a lot of the sting out of it as well, because the American people are very patriotic, and there's an element of me that loves that they stick up for their own. But as soon as they hear there's a deal to be done now, it just brings them down 20 notches.
It depends what your view is as an Iranian player. If you're a Ukrainian player, you're on the receiving end of an awful invasion, and most of the public and most of the people in Ukraine are feeling victims of a circumstance. Whereas the Iranians, a lot of the Iranians, and you're seeing the American Iranians saying that despite the fact there's a war going on, we wanted this regime change, we wanted a change of direction. So it might not be as difficult for Iranian players, besides the downward pressure that'll be put onto them by their own dysfunctional regime.
OK, Simon, it's the fourth of 4 games today. It's in the Los Angeles Stadium, and it's Iran against New Zealand. We'll watch with interest everything that goes on before, during and after that match. Monday morning here in New York, Monday afternoon back home, it's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney, and we are live on talkSPORT.
Let's go to Scott, who obviously is a Scotland fan. Hi, Scotty. Morning to you.
Good morning, Scott.
Morning, Andy. Morning, Gabby. How you doing?
All well, mate.
You got a day off today?
No, mate. I've just pulled into work, unfortunately.
Okay. How's your head?
It's all right, mate. I've had a day off to recover from it, but I'm buzzing. I'm still buzzing. I think it's fantastic for Scotland to be there. I think I'm a pragmatic fan. The game was pretty rubbish, and as you keep on mentioning, Andy, they were 82nd in the world, so we know who we've beaten. But yeah, I think it's great for Scotland, and we've waited a long time for
Why
this.
do you keep saying that, Andy?
My producer writes it down for me.
No, he doesn't.
That's how it works in TV and radio. You've got scripts sometimes to go into audio.
I'm sorry about him,
me.
Scott. I'm going to be more positive, mate. I am watching the game, listening to the national anthem. It's gone viral. The passion from the Scottish fans is amazing, isn't it?
It's unbelievable the noise that we make. Yeah. We're just there to enjoy it. We're absolutely buzzing. And I'm from Aberdeen as well, from a small town these days, and just to see the streets just absolutely packed at 5 a.m. was just fantastic.
How far can you go in the World Cup, do you think, realistically?
Realistically, I think watching Morocco-Brazil, I think Morocco are the dark horse here. I
agree.
honestly think if we're going to get another point, I think it comes from Brazil, and I know people are going to laugh at that.
No, you're right.
I think Morocco were.
Can I ask, do you think Morocco are the dark horse, or do you think that Brazil are just poor?
A bit of both. I think Brazil are filled with unbelievable talent as usual, but I think in the England team that I grew up with in the mid-2000s, they were just filled with people like Gerrard, Lampard, etc., and they just don't know what to do with them as a unit.
I think there's a lot of pressure on Brazil as well back home. There's so much pressure on them to win the World Cup.
Yeah. As they're all...
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com for all the latest odds and offers. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Okay, time here in New York to look ahead to the day with talkSPORT Bet and their ambassador, Ryan Douglas, joins us live in studio. Ryan, good morning. How was your weekend?
It was very good, yeah. A lot of sightseeing on a weekend. I was doing some dancing in Times Square, Morocco fans.
Okay.
That will be coming out. Yeah, they were really up for it. So, yeah, it was a wild one in New York.
Did you wear your hat?
Yeah, Troy's shaking his head at the merch. I know it's shameless. It's shameless, isn't it?
Well, you got a good head of hair under there. You're a good-looking chap, and you've got that hat on.
I'll have to speak to the bosses.
Absolutely.
Ryan, you wear that hat with pride. Listen, here's the thing. In Group F, one result stands out to me. Sweden 5, Tunisia 1.
Yeah.
Talk that Tunisia are going to say goodbye to their manager today. Whether that happens or not is another thing.
Wow.
What are you thinking regards Sweden and where that might go in the market?
Yeah, absolutely. As it comes to betting, I mean, they got off to a flyer, Sweden. There's no two ways about it. And it looked like on paper they had goals, and goals they did. And you've got Gyökeres and Isak up front. But Isak absolutely destroyed them. He's 50-1 to be the tournament's top goal scorer. And the reason why that'll be the price is obviously they're factoring into their thinking Sweden won't get as far as your Spains and your Frances. However, to be Sweden's top goal scorer, he's joint with Gyökeres at 7-4. I can't not throw this to Troy because obviously you've played at the top level and you've played up front. What does that tell us about Isak's mentality to have the season he's had and then to gobble up that first game in the World Cup the way he did?
I find it funny when people say the season he's had. So he didn't have a pre-season.
Exactly.
The move got done late. He then breaks his leg after scoring, and everyone expects him to have a good season. So what he's going to have now is a time and a period of time. So towards the end of the season, he was in and out because a little bit of a groin problem. That happens when you're coming back from injuries. And he's going to take this as a full... Sounds bad for a World Cup, a full pre-season now to be ready for next year. I think he wins a Golden Boot next year in the Premier League. I really do. I think he's one of the best strikers around, and just because you have that blip, everyone starts to...
My God, that would be a turnaround for him, Troy, if he was to do that.
But he's had a tough year.
Yeah.
You know, Rodri hasn't turned terrible overnight, has he? He's just had a tough year of injuries, so I think he's going to be great, and I think... You know, they've got the strikers, but I don't think Sweden will go that far.
What I'll say as well, boys, is Sweden aren't favourites to top the group, despite getting the 3 points. That's still Netherlands who are favourites to top the group. They're 9-4 right now, Sweden, to do that. But is this the start of the redemption arc? Is this the platform for Potter? I'll throw it over to Simon. Do you think this could be the springboard, the platform to get Graham Potter back into, everybody's mouths, everyone talking about him again?
Not particularly.
I set you up there. You don't think so?
Not particularly. No. I mean, I think they were fortunate to qualify.
Yeah.
Whilst they've got an embarrassment of riches, I mean, of course, I'm surprised that Zlatan hasn't taken credit for this result. He's taken credit for everything else. But I would be surprised if we get an opportunity to look at Sweden as an outside engaging force that suddenly trips a mentality of how well Potter's doing. But as a British manager, you want him to do well. I felt he was flaky at Chelsea, and I thought we did a good job at Brighton and perhaps merited some form of move, maybe upwards. I thought it was early in the Chelsea evolution, so it's unfair, but I thought he was weak at times. And I think at West Ham he was a disaster. But West Ham has been a disaster for some time now, post-David Moyes, so they can all take responsibility for that particular disaster.
Not a bad result, though, under Potter. They must be thinking... I mean, they were up against an African nation, Simon, and they win 5-1. Yeah, but not a bad start.
Tunisia are not great, though.
Tunisia are great, are they?
Great respect. But I also think as well,
how would Scotland go against them?
Nothing. I'd love to pick you right off that stool on the 50th floor of the World Trade Center. I mean, Ryan, from my point of view, I think it was a great start for Sweden. Anyway, we'll see how that works out. What about Spain and the odds for the tournament now? They begin to get against Cape Verde.
Yeah, they do. And they're the tournament favourites, I have to say. They're joint with France, and obviously it's because they've got a plethora of fantastic players. They've seen Germany lay down the gauntlet, Sweden as well, with all their firepower, so no doubt they'll be bang up for it. What I can tell you is we're going to continue to spoil the White and Jordan listeners and watchers. We've got a super boost right now. It should be up on screen momentarily. There it is, right on cue. Look at her. So it's Spain to get over 2.5 goals. It's gone from odds on all the way to evens against Cape Verde. And what I can tell you is we get one super boost a day on talkSPORT Bet, and every single day the super boost has landed. So let's hope that happens today as well. So
you're not exactly going above and beyond here, are you?
Hey, evens is good money. Evens is good money.
Picks up a little bit more difficult.
we want the punters to get some value back. Okay. You see, we're looking after him, Troy.
Ryan, I can't pass this opportunity up. Are you posh Birmingham? Or do you and Troy, I mean, I listen to the accent, I listen to the dialect. Your intonation. You obviously come from a very good part of the city.
Now, do you know what? I'm
when I think
Birmingham
of
City
Troy,
Centre.
maybe not.
I'm Birmingham City Centre.
Where are we talking?
I was Edgbaston. Edgbaston.
I'm not Perry Bar. Perry Bar would be nice for where I'm from.
Nice you see the Dinny reaction.
Where are you from? I'm from Chelmsford Wood.
Oh, enough said.
There you go.
Right,
But by the way, the only thing to say about where he's from, Edgbaston, it has a priory and it has a tennis club.
It does, yeah.
There's no tennis clubs where I'm.
That doesn't surprise me.
There's a few rackets, but there's no tennis club.
I'm not a member of the tennis club, no. I looked at the tennis club fondly, but I never actually joined it.
Grass courts as well, lovely.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah.
I want to ask these two something. Ryan, say where you are, but that was a look at the latest odds thanks to talkSPORT Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com to see all our latest sign-up offers. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Troy Deeney alongside Simon and myself this morning here in New York. Troy, I've got to ask you this. Hydration breaks. So many people... You see, there's your reaction. And I get it, mate. So we have a break in the first half of the game, a break in the second half of the game. And as true to form here in America, that to me seems like 4 quarters of football we're getting at the moment. Pochettino has been talking about it. So too has Virgil van Dijk. Let's have a listen to what they think about hydration breaks.
Only like when the conditions are very extreme, but when the conditions are good, I think it's necessary. It's not necessary to have water break. But I think we need, like the opponent is going to try to take advantage of the to fix or to encourage or to do maybe things that you cannot do when you are in the touchline and the game is running. No.
Hydration breaks are a bit interesting because I was obviously watching almost all the games up until today, and every time going to commercial is a bit. Not really that I like it, and I think for the neutral watchers on TV, it's also not great. So if it's really hot, obviously it will be good to put them in, but I think you have to look at it in every game separately, in my opinion. But I think I've said enough already for that.
No, well said, Virgil. Hydration breaks, Troy, where do you stand on them then? You haven't it?
No, not at all.
As a player, you would.
No. Well, what if it was hydration and they just went and got a drink? Now there's iPads, there's laptops out, and they're doing all tactical breakdowns in there as well. But the other part is last year we was here, Club World Cup, and it was roasted. So you go, no problem. You know, the lads need to go and get a drink. It's not a problem. Some of the games now, the one in Dallas was an indoor AC stadium, temperature-controlled stadium, and they're still doing these breaks. So, yeah, for me, if it warrants it, absolutely. But also, I would have it so that like no coaches can come on. I'd have the physios run on, put the water bottles in the middle. You've got a minute, catch your breath, go again.
What's your take on them, Simon?
Well, what's the first thing that's happening when you get a hydration break? It flicks to commercials.
Yes.
So it tells me that, in part, without wanting to be overly cynical, that there is a commercial value to this as well, because there was no purpose or necessity for the Dutch or Japanese players to have a break 22 minutes into this first half when you've got a temperature-controlled environment in Dallas. Now, of course, when you saw what we saw on Saturday playing out in the heat, we were complaining walking 500 yards. Imagine what the players, albeit I saw the Moroccan number 6 at half-time doing an interview, didn't look like he'd broken a sweat, and he was the guy that was most busy on the field. But I can see the value for the players in certain climates and certain circumstances. But then again, I guess you can turn around and say, if you don't, what they'll make this argument, and I believe it's steeped in a load of old crap, but notwithstanding it, they'll make it. If the sporting integrity of a game is one set of games gets a hydration break and another doesn't, you're going to have this ridiculous argument that people are saying the sporting integrity. Behind it is commerciality, monetization.
They go to commercials over here, but they don't back home. That's the difference.
But
so the American way is a commercial way.
Of course.
As we always knew.
Everything about this is commercialised, isn't it?
Yeah. Very shortly, I'm delighted to tell you we'll be joined by former Scotland international Mark McGee. Why? Because Mark, not only is he co-comms over here for talkSPORT, he was there on Saturday night when Scotland beat Haiti by a single goal to nil and topped the group, a tough old group that involves Brazil and Morocco, and Scotland sit at the very top. How good is that, Simon? At 2 o'clock back in the UK, and we are live from New York City on talkSPORT.
problem is I think I try and turn things into a roast that aren't a roast. Like the Brits, I'm like, oh, this could be like a roast. And then I try to do roast jokes within the Brits. And then it's like, no, this is like primetime ITV. But it's a family audience.
I thought your gags at the Brits were fantastic, right? But that is the most difficult gig, I think, for a comedian, because primarily people are going there to see the winners and hear music.
And get drunk.
And get incredibly drunk.
Incredibly drunk.
And also in such a big room that you're... It's almost like, it's like whoever it is, not you, but it's almost like, can we get on with it so I can drink more alcohol?
Exactly.
And
it's the weirdest show to do ever, because also you have this weird little grace period at the beginning where you come on and for 2 minutes you feel like, you know, you're the greatest showman and you're there and you've got all the eyes on you and they love you and it's amazing. And so you got 2 minutes of the greatest showman and then 3 hours of being a Wetherspoons bouncer at closing time. And you're just there, like, trying to keep everyone in their seats, or, like, stop them from, like, standing up on the tables. I mean, in the one in Manchester was even more carnage than I've ever experienced.
I want to talk World Cup football to you, but just quickly on the back of that, have you ever nicked a Brit? Have you got one at home?
I've got, they give you one each year.
Oh, okay, fine.
But they give you one each year for hosting it, so I've got, like, 6 Brits now, and they're not on my shelf because it just feels like a bit of a pity Brit. I haven't really earned that. Like, you know, someone writes an incredible, like, heartfelt album and wins their Brit Award, and then I just get given one for turning up, basically.
One of them.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk about the World Cup. What are you watching England game Wednesday? What are you doing?
I'm watching it with some mates in a pub. We booked a little space, and we're going to go watch the first game.
All right, how do you think we'll get on?
Yeah, I'm actually feeling quite optimistic now. Like, you know, that last...
Talk Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Toby Gillis. We start with a big breaking story that has the potential to run for some time, and it centres on the mental health of England's cricket captain. Ben Stokes' future as skipper is not a decision for now, with Brendan McCullum revealing a clear and worrying concern for his skipper. Stokes and Gus Atkinson have been made unavailable for the second test with New Zealand this week after breaching a curfew and going to a nightclub last week. But while McCullum is not dismissing that, he's clear that when he spoke to Stokes in particular, his overriding angry emotion changed.
I guess my overall emotion probably turned to a little bit of worry and concern for Ben in particular. For me, it's very much about how do we support these guys through the next stage, and in particular Ben, and that's very much where my mind is at, is I worry for him.
Stick with talkSPORT, of course, for more on this big breaking story, and of course the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel will have reaction too. The Jose revolution at the Bernabeu is officially underway. Marc Cucurella is now a Real Madrid player on a 6-year deal. He's earned Chelsea almost 52 million quid all in. Now he's as polarising as Donald Trump for many. You're either Jude Bellingham yay or Jude Bellingham nay. But the charm offensive from the England camp around him is clear. He's the X factor and we love him. Jordan Henderson in particular hates the criticism, saying it's been hard to read. talkSPORT's ex-England striker Darren Bent doesn't get it either.
People calling him overrated, saying he's not good enough. Some people saying he shouldn't start for England. Now, I can't understand that. I don't understand how you think Jude Bellingham, the moments he's had for England, big goals, even the other day he didn't score, but the way he plays when he gets on the ball, he creates things. He's done so much in such a short space of time.
England-Croatia at the World Cup is Wednesday night live on talkSPORT. Scotland are next up on Friday, but don't expect them to double up top again. Steve Clark went with a pair against Haiti, but talkSPORT Scotland reporter Shabana Hearn told us that won't be the case for Morocco.
I think we'll see him kind of revert back to type, be a team that's harder to beat, bank up that little bit more. It was refreshing though to see him go into the game against Haiti with the 2 up front, because I think a lot of the fans wanted to see that.
And Donald Trump will be allowed to hang about on the podium during the World Cup trophy lift. FIFA have no problem with Trump breaking protocol, just like he did at the Club World Cup. There's more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
The Prime Minister says he's giving youngsters their childhoods back by banning social media for under-16s. And 2 men have been found guilty over a series of arson attacks on property linked to Keir Starmer. More with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, your go-to destination for quality tyres from great brands like Continental. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Some showers moving north and eastwards, warm in any sunshine, although cooler on the east coast.
Good afternoon, everybody back home in the UK. It's 5 minutes past 2 o'clock on your Monday afternoon, our Monday morning here in New York City. If you're watching on YouTube, what about that skyline? What about the skyline behind us here on the 50th floor of the World Trade Center? It rained all night long here in New York. It's going to be a lovely day here, though, in this great city. Going to go up to about 26 degrees and many more matches today for us to look forward to. Significantly, Iran play in the fourth of 4 games today, and all eyes will be on that for a variety of different reasons, as you might imagine. It's Jim White, it's Simon Jordan, and it's Troy Deeney coming to you live from our studio, and 3 has become 4 because I'm delighted to say, off the back of that historic Scotland win against Haiti on Saturday night, former Scotland assistant and talkSPORT pundit during this World Cup, Mark McGee, is in studio. Mr. McGee, smiling from ear to ear as I expected you to do. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Good morning.
Enjoyed your company last night in a very nice Italian restaurant here in New York.
Very nice indeed, yeah. A great start to a weekend in New York.
It was indeed. I want to hear about your experience on Saturday night very shortly. Scotland beat Haiti. The significance there, this was Scotland's first World Cup win in 36 years. And this was head coach Steve Clarke after that.
Sometimes I put myself under too much pressure. But when you're in charge of a group of players like this, I think you have to appreciate what you've got. And I really appreciate what I've got in that squad. They've never let me down. They've had bad results, but they've never let me down. And that's why I can come to a tournament like this and enjoy it. I've never been to a World Cup. I've waited 62 years to be at a World Cup. I've been in football 44 years. This for me is everything. It's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to a World Cup with my country. And I'm sitting here now talking to you guys. That's the downside. I did so well.
Steve Clarke in good spirits, as you might imagine. Mark, as you might imagine, when we heard the audio there of Steve Clarke, it was punctuated here in the studio at the World Trade Center with complete and utter facetious remarks from start to finish from Simon Jordan. But Mark, here's the thing. It was reported after that, a 125 decibel sound level recorded during Flower of Scotland. The Scots were in great voice and Scotland won. What was your take on it?
Well, the atmosphere, as you say, with the supporters, with the Tartan Army was extraordinary. And I've been in big stadiums. I've played in 101,000, you know, in Kiev and other places like that. That atmosphere in there and the noise in there the other night was absolutely outstanding. It really was.
But it was only 1-0. Now, is it a performance that gives you more or less confidence that this is a Scotland side that's going to get out the group?
Well, I still think they can get out of the group, and I think they have to do better to get out of the group. I think they have a lot more in them. I expected to win by more than 1 goal, and not just, you know, off the cuff. I looked at Haiti and I worked it out, and I was convinced that Scotland were 3 goals better than Haiti, and they ended up not scoring 3 goals. So
carry on, Mark.
So I think that, you know, they can improve. I think they will. I think Steve will change it a little bit, and we'll see a better performance against Morocco.
What's up with you?
Because he spent his entire time in the studio before the World Cup couching us to be in a situation of margin of error. This is not a team. They've got 6'4" centre forwards. Right, but they've got players that can't kick a bleeding ball as well. So the fact of the matter is he's now gone from insulating himself. We should have won 3-0.
I think I was proven right. I said to you,
you did.
It was going to be a tight affair.
You set yourself a low standard and you managed to achieve it, yeah.
Well, we set ourselves a standard that we were realistic. We were modest in our approach to it. We're not going to be going bombastic like England are going to win the World Cup.
There you go. Get in early.
Mark McGee. We're coming here to do our best, you know?
Yes, and I do think it's worth remarking on the fans, because they were remarkable.
Yeah.
Then again, empty vessels make the most noise, don't they? But the fact is that the fan base was fabulous. It was.
Of course they were.
Treat to listen to.
And Scotland won.
Yes, short trip.
It does well for your sweepstake as well, right?
It does. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm delighted with
Mark,
that. Yes.
to a degree, he would probably point to this. Should Scotland have been made to hold on, which they were doing, against a side ranked 83 in the world?
No, they shouldn't, because they should have been more than one goal ahead. They've hit the post. McTominay's had another chance. They were unlucky not to be more than one goal ahead. If they're more than one goal ahead, it's not like that. One goal against any team, you know, in those circumstances, you're going to come under pressure at some point. And it was horrible. The second half and the end of the game was absolutely horrible. I wanted to leave the stadium, go and walk around the car park. It was so stressful,
right?
You know, but, you know, we got through it.
Yeah, I mean, Troy, as an ex-player, would you concede that as far as Scotland were concerned, it was... Don't look at him, look at me.
I'm trying to.
Would you
My
not
eye line.
concede that, from a Scottish point of view, Mark and I are happy because it's job done. A win in your opening game.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, can you look at it and say, could we do better? I think to the chance Che Adams shot in the first half, you just had to slip McTominay would score, it'd be 2-0, and you're probably sitting here saying it's a 5-0 game, how great Scotland. Even you might have even said it was good if they won 5-0.
Yeah,
but I actually think the way that they would have got the win and the games that they're going to have against Brazil and Morocco, it suits Scotland. Sit in a low block, 4-5-1, hit on the counter-attack against these teams and not really have to have the ball, but be that team now that could be sitting in, enjoying the pressure and then go forward.
Well, see, I see it slightly differently than that, Troy.
That's probably why you're here and I'm not.
No, but I see the 4-5-1 as a more progressive shape, in the sense that you're able to get up the park a bit better. You can step on.
Oh, 100%.
The other night in the 4-4-2, our wider midfield players couldn't get to them, and by the time they did, they were able to play around us, even Haiti. But if they've got a 5, we can get to their fullbacks, we can stop them, and we can still counter.
So that's conducive, though, to go and press them early doors.
Absolutely.
If you can stay...
Not so much a high press, but just that little 15 yards further up the pitch that, you know, that keeps Morocco, you know, pinned in that little bit more than we're able to do.
See,
even
this is
with,
football talk, Simon, and you're right to stay quiet on this stage. Mark, how will a similar approach leave Scotland, though? Because all of a sudden it's serious. Morocco next, then Brazil.
Yeah, well, they won't. I'm sure Steve Clarke won't approach it in a 4-4-2. You know, I think that would be catastrophic. You know, Morocco would destroy us in a 4-4-2 for the reasons I've just said. But in a 5, with discipline and with determination and with hard work, we can block the Moroccans a little bit higher up the pitch, which allows us to go and counter and maybe get a goal.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting point you made to me just before you sat down here in the studio. These hydration breaks. Expand on that. You were telling me about Sir Alex and Aberdeen.
Yeah. Well, going back to, you know, the 1980s, nobody mentioned water. You know, there was no talk of drink water. We used to leave the dressing room and Alex Ferguson used to be standing at the door saying, have you taken your salt tablets? You know, and we would all pop salt tablets. And instead of, you know, increasing your hydration, you were increasing your salt content, which led to cramp. And I used to find myself in the dressing room or in the bus coming home from games, lying on the floor of the bus with cramp, you know, because you were so dehydrated. But no one suggested that we should drink water. And I know that sounds ludicrous, but that is how it was.
Good. Matt, I'm glad you're with us this morning here in New York. Stay with us because it's time for this.
talkSPORT Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
Yeah, time now for Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Troy, it's been reported widely that this will be the last dance, if you like, for the likes of Messi, for the likes of 41-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo. Could it be the same for 33-year-old Mo Salah at this tournament?
Potentially, yeah. If he so last year showed real signs of aging, right? So if you go off just last year alone, can he make it physically 4 years from now? Is a question mark. What's the level he's playing at? Where is he going next? And also, do Egypt qualify? So I think there's many arguments to say that this could be his last one, yeah?
What do you think, Mark?
I think there's other ways to use them. You know, you can deploy them in a different way. You don't need to deploy them in the right-hand side, you know, running up the length of the field. He's got such ability and he's got such goal-scoring ability that you've got to use them for as long as they can.
Yeah. Mo Salah, nonetheless.
Can't put him on the bench.
Here in the USA.
If you put him on the bench, he'll delete all his social media. So.
And Belgium-Egypt, quite an opening game for both, is live on talkSPORT later on tonight. And you can watch the games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com. Plus, for your chance to win a Village Hotel VIP experience for the World Cup final, no less, at a Village Hotel near you, head to talksport.com/competitions. 2:15 back in the UK.
talkSPORT's Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
Wasn't the best performance from Scotland, but it doesn't really matter. In fact, it doesn't matter at all, actually. But an important win, really important. They got 3 points.
You know what? Haiti were better than what I thought they'd be. They got Bellegarde from Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yeah.
Got Isidore from Sunderland. Obviously, the rest of the players don't play at the highest level, but they were better than what maybe people thought they would be. They're like a lot better than Curacao, a lot better than South Africa. Scotland did their job. They weren't great. John McGinn scores. That's 1 goal in a World Cup for a pub player. And the guy called him a pub player. No goals in the World Cup. Just throw that shit out there.
Yeah.
But Scotland,
What?
Because third place only goes through 8 out of the 12 groups.
Well, would you like a little stat?
Go on then.
According to Football Meets Data, or Data, do you put an R in it?
Data.
You don't? Data.
Data.
That's the way,
Data.
yeah. If Scotland lose both to Morocco and Brazil, a goal difference of -1, so if they lose 1-0 to both, offers an 87.5% chance of progression.
That's the thing. I think they do lose both. But could they have, went and got 2 or 3? Because we said that before the game. Scotland might need to get 2 or 3 against Haiti.
Yeah.
Because of the goal difference. Because Brazil are going to get better as the tournament goes on.
Are they?
Morocco are a very good.
I saw the Brazil game, and
I think they'll make changes, mate. I think you got Ryan, you got Hendrick available.
Yeah.
If they make a few changes, I could see them improving. But Morocco are the team that scares me, mate, if you're Scotland.
I agree.
Scotland changed their tactics. They played 4-4-2.
Yeah.
Shankland and Che Adams, so they go back to maybe a 5 at the back and try and keep the score down. But must-win game. Could have even equalised at the end. Had a header, Haiti, that went wide. But Scotland probably would be a bit frustrated that they didn't get 2 or 3.
Are they through Scotland in your head?
I don't think so.
You don't think they're going to go through?
No, I don't think so.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think they'll go through?
I'm not sure. I'm 50-50.
Okay.
Because it's only 8 out of the 12 teams, and I look at the goal difference. I think it's still up in the air.
Okay.
Monday morning here in New York City. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan, Troy Deeney and Mark McGee in studio here in the studio on the 50th floor of the World Trade Center. And we're coming to you live on talkSPORT in partnership with Tool Station. First stop, Tool Station. I said at the very start of our coverage here in the US, we'll be right across all things back in the UK, of course, breaking news, etc. It's coming to us out here in New York that earlier today, back in the UK, we heard some very interesting words from England head cricket coach Brendan McCullum on Ben Stokes, specifically on Ben Stokes. And we're going to play some of that in about 10 minutes' time back in the UK. So about 2:30 your time back home, you're going to hear from Brendan McCullum, who opens up a bit on Ben Stokes. Mark McGee in studio with us here in New York City, and that gives us, Mark, whether Simon likes it or not, the chance to talk about the domestic scene back in Scotland. But, I mean, even Simon would concede right now, and Simon, you are across this with Hearts and Rangers. There's a very interesting scene going on here, Mark. It's expected that Danny Röhl, said to be on the brink of leaving Rangers and heading to RB Salzburg as their new head coach, that would obviously, with him gone to Austria, leave a vacancy at Rangers. And of course it's now being widely thought, yet to be confirmed, that Hearts' Derek McInnes will fill that slot. If that happens, Lawrence Shanklin has left Hearts and gone to Rangers. That's confirmed. If McInnes does the same, despite their title charge, will Hearts always be submissive in the eyes of many to the old firm, to Rangers and Celtic?
I think in many respects it will be, but I think with Tony Bloom's involvement at Hearts now, he won't miss a beat. You know, that'll be fine. That's still on, that's done. And he'll ramp up his algorithm, and he'll come out with someone that's going to lead Hearts into the future who will be equal or better than Derek McInnes. You know, that's what Tony does. And as far as, you know, replacing Shanklin, he'll do the same. And Hearts, I think, have a big future.
That's interesting on Tony Bloom and Mark. Nobody knows him better than Mark.
Maybe. And we'll see. I mean, ultimately, the level of success he's had at Brighton tells that there's a certain viewpoint on what they're doing, and I would be in that camp as well. Interesting thing would have been, would these challenges have come if they'd have won the Scottish Premier League? Would they still have these departures? Would everyone still arrive at Rangers as a result of Hearts winning the league? And I suspect the answer probably would still be yes. And that's the bloody trouble.
As a Celtic supporter, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you know, what Rangers are doing. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, as a Celtic supporter, Rangers are getting a manager that nearly won the league. You know, so, you know, I'm quite happy with that as a Celtic supporter.
Yeah, if you're a Hearts supporter, though, Troy, you have sympathy there, because Rangers have already gone in and taken one of their star players, Lawrence Shanklin, and now it seems they're going back for the coach.
Yeah, a year ago you'd have been grateful to be in this position, but everyone in football forgets the history very, very quickly, and we're looking over the last few months and say, well, we should have probably won the league and we didn't, and you know, we can blame whoever, but ultimately that's on us as a group. And then we're losing our manager, we're losing our top striker. OK, how do we react again, and how do we go again? I think Scottish football needs Hearts to be good. I think they need more than the big two to keep that fire burning for everybody else.
Well, the interesting thing also is not just about what Hearts are losing, is the reasons why Danny Röhl was leaving Rangers. I mean, this is a big football club, irrespective of what I think of the Scottish League, and the fact that I think it would have been wonderful for another side to have won it. Because look at the media interest, and I know that the world doesn't begin and end in England, but the fact that there was a huge amount of interest from all the broadcasters, from all the fans on the other side of the border, where most of us couldn't give a monkeys most of the time about Scottish football, and they were interested because it was a breakup of Celtic and Rangers. Great for Celtic and Rangers fans that they've dominated Scottish football, not so good for the intrigue amongst it. And the intrigue amongst the league brings in broadcasters, the broadcaster brings in more money, and everyone gets the benefit of it. That's why people wanted Hearts to progress.
Right.
But the question about Rangers is Danny Röhl has gone in there to fix, you know, the 49ers have gone in there with this new regime, and they're going to be very sophisticated in their thinking, and they've dropped the ball on the first occasion with Russell Martin. They fixed it with, I think, a sensible appointment with Danny Röhl, albeit they fell apart when the league broke up and they played the last 6 games. And I think he would have been one for the future. It's interesting because I was talking to Josh Windass on the plane. I think it was a perception that he might have been potentially considering an opportunity to go to Rangers.
Go back to Rangers? What, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking on behalf of Josh because he's got a contract at Wrexham. But the fact is that there wasn't this clear blue sky of Danny Röhl leaving Rangers. And now Rangers in a season have gone from Russell Martin, car crash, new ownership under the 49ers ownership, that have not shown any particular acumen. They got rid of the board there that I thought were incompetent anyway, and they've got a new sort of mentality.
Yeah.
And Danny Roll's going out the door.
So would the 49ers be getting it right, Mark, whether Hearts like it or not, if Rangers get McInnes?
Oh, I think Derek McInnes would do a fantastic job at Rangers. I do. But looking back on my moves I made, sometimes I made moves that were mistakes. And I look at that a little bit and I think what's happening at Hearts is really quite exciting, you know, and what's going to happen at Hearts. And I would have been tempted to stay at Hearts.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Does McInnes owe Hearts anything, Mark, to stay, I'm getting at?
No, I don't think so. I think that, you know, we've all experienced it. I mean, I've been sacked many times. I've left a couple of times, walked out, and it causes controversy. So it works both ways. And Derek's entitled, if he's offered a job that he feels is better for him, to take it.
At this time, would he be an upgrade on Roll?
I think that he'll be a success. He'll make the best of Rangers.
That wasn't the question, was it?
Yes, yes is the answer.
There's no answer to that. You know, would he be an upgrade?
Why?
I don't know.
Why do you think he would?
I don't know.
Well, because I think he understands
Scottish
the league
football.
better. Yeah,
Sure.
I think he understands that, and I think also.
But he hasn't had a stellar career in Scottish football.
No.
I mean, this particular moment, he's had moments in his career,
Yeah.
but he's not had a consistent opportunity. And I would have felt that there's an answer to your question. Yes, because there was an educated punt taken by Hearts to give him an opportunity, and it has worked out well. And at the beginning of the journey, not the end of it. So I hope it plays out well for him, because his football managers are very adept at making decisions that best suit themselves. And as we've seen in previous incarnations, with Rob Edwards, you know, reaping the whirlwind, it doesn't always play out the way you think it does when you're only motivated by one thing, which is your own particular opportunity.
So what about when the owners mess it up, like Rangers are doing that?
Oh, loving this.
In what way?
So, you know,
they fire people and they pay them to go.
No, but you also, they're not bringing in a squad that is capable of winning the league. The Rangers squad, you look at it now and say it's not that. They haven't brought in a board yet that is fully established as a...
Oh, I think that's absolutely right. I think
he's made a good point. You just said they haven't exactly pulled up trees.
One of the things that we expected, and I remember we were talking to the former Rangers owner in the summer, and David Murray, and talking about the structure of the Rangers perspective and how over a period of time they'd all got investor fatigue and they needed a change of ownership, right? So the 49ers came in and there was an expectation that these guys had the chops. They knew what they were doing, because I was underwhelmed by the Patrick Stewarts of the world and definitely should have thought we should have been beamed up a long time ago. And here they were sitting in situ making decisions. And it gave us no confidence. So he's absolutely right that they didn't hit the ground
That's
well.
what I'm saying. In that moment, then it can't always be on the manager, right?
I'm not blaming the manager. I'm not talking about the manager.
He needs that to succeed, would you agree?
Good effort,
Of course
Troy.
you need stability, and of course you need good leadership at the top. But the fact is, no one's talking about the ownership of Rangers. We're talking about the manager at Rangers jumping from Rangers somewhere else.
But of course, he jumped out. He's partly attracted away by the Red Bull, you know, franchise. Or, you know,
of course.
He thinks he's going to a
And
world.
on McInnes, Mark, it shouldn't be forgotten that Derek McInnes played for Rangers. And now,
Absolutely.
And now he sees the opportunity to manage them.
Equally, he's been offered it before and not taking it.
That's true. You played for Celtic, you remain a Celtic fan. Martin O'Neill, our great friend Martin O'Neill, the only true choice for the Celtic board, or does Martin O'Neill represent kicking the long-term solution down the road?
I don't think he's kicking the long-term solution down the road. I think it's giving them time to find the long-term solution, and he's a great interim, you know, to do that, because I don't think they have anybody identified yet that they think he's the man to take Celtic really into the future. So it gives them a bit of time.
And of course, they won the league and they won the cup. Could the board not have appointed Martin? They had to appoint Martin, or did they?
Well, I hope they didn't do it for that reason. I hope that they're intelligent enough and strong enough to make it for the right decisions, because Martin is the right guy at this point. Not because they won the league and there's pressure from a group of fans, but, you know, because they're chanting Martin's name. Martin's the right guy at this moment in time. Give them the job until someone else is ready to take it.
Mark, it's good having your company this morning. It's only 9:30 in the morning here in New York. What does the rest of your day hold, Mr. McGee?
I hope breakfast, but getting to know New York a little bit. You know, we're going out to the stadium to prepare for watching France-Senegal tomorrow night. You know, we're looking forward to that. It'll be a tremendous game to be at. You know, taking in the sights. I mean, over your right shoulder there, I can see the Statue of Liberty. You know,
sure.
So no overstated celebration for a 1-0 win. Not dancing around the streets making the public nuisance of yourself.
It's a bank holiday at home, isn't it?
We've banked those 3 points, and now we're moving on to bigger fish. And then, of course, we're looking forward to watching England stumble and, you know, and...
See, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Let's see how they got on against Croatia. And your eye line, fix it on me, Mark. Ignore Dini and Jordan. Scotland, Morocco. Do we get anything from it?
We don't get gubbed.
We don't get gubbed, which is a Scottish word. We don't get thumped. I'm delighted about that. That doesn't tell me if we win it, draw it, or lose it, but we won't get thumped. Mark McGee.
That'll be enough.
That'll be enough. That was actually as diplomatic as we could get. Mark McGee, well done, and brilliant that you're with us here in New York City. It's 2:30 back in the UK.
For you, Carl, obviously playing right back, you would have played against these two guys, and we don't quite know which one will start, and that's Anthony Gordon and Marcus Rashford on that left-hand side. Now, you've played against both. I'm not going to say which one's better, but what differences are there between the two, and what makes both of them as good as they are? Obviously, Rashford being at Barca, Anthony Gordon just got the move to Barcelona. What are the differences between the two?
I think that just says it there. There's not really much with one team signing them both,
yeah,
you know, and wanting to take them because they fit the personality that they want to play the game at. I think, listen, they're both extremely quick players, and they both got an eye for goal as well. The main thing is that I feel that in tournaments that I've played in previously to this, there's not been many other goals than Harry Kane, and that's what we need to find. And as having one of them on the pitch, you know, with Bakaya or Noni on the other side, I think they need to bring some goals into it.
The fullback situation. Reece was a little bit more reserved last night than O'Reilly. O'Reilly, we know he's a midfielder that plays left back. He's an 8 that can be a 10. He's incredibly talented. I mean, you'll know all about him, right? Reece, I felt, was a little bit more structured to his game.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because of his hamstrings. Maybe they're managing that. I know at Chelsea they've had to manage that because there is some fragility in and around there. How important is that, though, that Nico O'Reilly does that job on that side? Because his link-up play is exceptional. He really is a major talent.
I think you can't take that away from Nico. What he's done at Manchester City and arriving in the box in areas that you don't expect a left-back to get into just shows what he does offensively. But I think Reece James played a very intelligent game last night. You know, from watching it, he managed himself really well. You don't need to peak now. Reece James needs to peak in the knockout stages. Please God, England get to that, and that's when we'll see the best from Reece James.
Did you hear about Nico O'Reilly coming through when you was at City? Because for me, it felt like he just came from nowhere and exploded. Did you hear about him? Because you always hear about whispers in the youth team about, have you seen him coming through? Did you hear much about Nico O'Reilly before he made
Yeah, of course you see him, you train with him. You train with him when the kids come up and they train with you. You know, Nico was always up there, but did I expect for him to do what he's done this season? Definitely not. I mean, he's played everywhere. I think to get the trust...
Marc Cucurella has officially joined Real Madrid. Just under 52 million quid all in, and he signed a 6-year deal. Here's Alan Pardew, who can see why he was a wanted man.
There's been a couple of times when he's been up against, I think Yamal was sticks in my mind. I mean, Yamal, where he done an absolutely brilliant job on him. So, you know, now and again, he can really keep a winger quiet. And he has that great ability to get forward as well.
Now, the headlines are hard to read, but he's got the X factor. That's according to Jordan Henderson on all the slander put to Jude Bellingham's name. So what fuels it? Only last week, Darren Bent told us he's uncomfortable with it too.
People calling him overrated, saying he's not good enough. Some people saying he shouldn't start for England. Now, I can't understand that. I don't understand how you think Jude Bellingham, the moments he's had for England, big goals. Even the other day, he didn't score, but the way he plays when he gets on the ball, he creates things. He's done so much in such a short space of time.
Meanwhile, it'll be the victors and possibly Donald Trump on the podium for the World Cup trophy lift, as FIFA have confirmed they won't stop the US president repeating his Club World Cup stunt. Elsewhere, it looks like Man United are about to save a few quid. Ruben Amorim's understood to have agreed to become AC Milan manager, which would massively reduce the compensation United have to pay him for his sacking. And Maro Itoje's once again been left out of the England squad by Steve Borthwick, despite an enlarged 33-man group being selected ahead of the non-cap international with France on Friday.
We are indeed live from the 50th floor of the World Trade Center, and it's another beautiful morning here in New York City. It is 2:30 with you back home in the UK. People here, there and everywhere watching and listening to the show today. Just been sent a great picture from the man at the top of the media department at Brighton and Hove Albion, Paul Camlin, who's sitting around a pool in Miami, watching us live on YouTube with a crowd of people behind him. Paul, good to hear from you, and thanks for sending me the picture. Simon in studio with me, of course he is. So too is Troy Deeney. We're going to get back to matters football and World Cup in a second. But in the last hour, England cricket coach, of course, Brendan McCullum, has opened up on his concern for his captain, Ben Stokes, after Stokes was dropped for breaking a curfew, repeatedly saying this morning in a news conference, "I'm worried about Ben." England will be without Stokes and Gus Atkinson for the second test against New Zealand on Wednesday after they were disciplined for being out beyond midnight after their win in the first test. There were suggestions that Stokes would quit or even retire in the immediate aftermath. But with no public reaction from Ben Stokes as things stand, McCullum has moved in and repeatedly focused on Stokes' welfare. This is Brendan McCullum.
Look, when I first found out about it, I was obviously slightly bewildered, if I'm being honest. And then you go through a range of emotions. I think you go from being bewildered onto angry, onto kind of gutted, you know. And very quickly, through talking to Ben in particular, and also Gus, I guess my overall emotion probably turned to a little bit of worry and concern for Ben in particular. And then since then, it's been about how do we support these guys whilst not overlooking the fact that they've not lived up to the standards which we've set for ourselves. You can't walk past that per se, but at the same time, and we'll deal with that in time and through a process. But for me, it's very much about how do we support these guys through the next stage, and in particular Ben. And that's very much where my mind is at. Is I worry for him. What will be down the line. Those decisions, they're not for now. The concern at the moment is making sure that Ben is fine, and we need to look after him, rally around him, and in time we'll get on to those sorts of decisions. But for me, I'm just making sure that I'm checking in with him, and yeah, that's where things sit at the moment.
That was Brendan McCullum. He made it clear that looking after his players is the #1 priority. Discipline and the future of Stokes' captaincy have got to take a back seat right now, McCullum was emphasising. Troy Deeney in studio with Simon and myself, he says, quotes, "I'm worried about him." Mm-hmm. Can you identify with this kind of thing, Troy?
Yeah, look, I've had my troubles, both, with alcohol, 2 years sober this week. So for me, I understand that element of it, and I also understand getting in trouble off the field, right? That's well publicised. I think when when I'm watching this and listen to this, my cynical head says it comes across a little bit. And I hope if it's proven right and he has real problems, I hope he gets the help he deserves. But my cynical head listened to that. I didn't see anything really that pointed to what the problem was. That, you know, mental health is such a widespread word and term now that you don't really know where it is. So is it alcohol abuse? Is it substance abuse? Is it, you know, does he have anything deeper than that? But for me, when I was listening to that, I heard a lot of nothing. I heard a lot of fluff. I heard a lot of, let's try and kick this down the road, and we throw a big subject matter in front of it.
That's right.
That makes people uncomfortable then to actually ask the real questions. So, you know, for me personally, I hope he does get the help he deserves. And I'm not a friend, I don't know the guy, but if he ever needs any help, give me a call, not a problem. But I also think there also needs to be an element of, you set the rules. You as captain, you set the curfew rules that you ended up ultimately breaking. So there's an element of accountability that just gets lost in society nowadays, in my opinion.
You see, the significant thing to me, and I take on board what you're saying, Troy, the suggestion was that Stokes would resign, Simon, or even retire in the immediate aftermath. And yet, McCullum has taken it in a different direction this morning. And again, significantly, no public reaction from Stokes as it stands.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for someone to speak. I mean, he didn't go in great detail. He put out a taboo subject, which then is not something people would particularly challenge, because no one in the room is going to go, well, what's exactly wrong with him then, in terms of these mental challenges that you're alluding to? Because it's a very distant illusion that he's putting towards, not illusion in terms of it's an illusion, he's alluding to it from a very distant point of view. I look at it and say, if you are aware of the fact that he has, quote unquote, mental health challenges, if that's what we're suggesting, did you not know this before appointing him as captain for a series, or did you just know it because he was breaking a curfew? How we arrived at this particular point. It's a strange one for someone to present on behalf of the person about someone else's well-being. It does stop the argument in its tracks, doesn't it? It's like agreeing with an argument. Once you've agreed with an argument, then no one's got any wind left in their sails. And if you throw up in a situation where there's a particular taboo subject that no one will challenge, the conversation ends there and then. The bigger question for me, Troy, we were debating the other day about the optics. I hate living in a world where it's optics, because optics define so many things. We don't get good politicians because the optics of what people do and don't do in their private lives or their professional lives precludes them from being good at things and excuses them from doing it. Is England... Should he be removed? Should he have the captaincy taken away from him because of a transgression, be held to a higher standard, but potentially weaken the team because the optics are better to do that? And does a captain's transgression really lose the currency of the dressing room going, well, if he can do it, we can all do it?
No, because it all depends on how it's being handled, right? I think you can take the captaincy away from him and still keep him as just an individual player and say, right, be the best version of yourself. We're going to take a little bit of the pressure off you. That can happen. But also, trying to pick my words here because it's not actually Ben that said it. But if he has got mental issues and health problems around that, maybe taking the captaincy off him is a good thing because you're relieving him of a little bit more pressure. Yeah. Going, okay, let's just take care of your individual self. And when you are going through situations, unfortunately, you have to be even more selfish, don't you?
But Troy, you mentioned, and I know you can, and you're honest enough to say it, you can identify to a degree with what maybe Stokes is going through. Is playing the last thing in his mind at the moment?
For me, it's the best thing. To get out and play, doing what I'm known for, doing what I'm best at. That's what I want.
But it must be. I mean, we're seeing this case visit itself in Anthony Joshua for different reasons. He's had tragedy in his life, and that will have affected his mental well-being, and he's finding the sport as the best opportunity to extinguish that particular challenge. Now, again, I would ask the question, and again, it's not the cynical mindset, but it's a realistic one. If Ben Stokes is challenged by mental well-being, by his own mental well-being, did they not know this?
Yeah, when did it come along?
Before the test series started, and it would it have ever seen the light if Ben Stokes hadn't broken the curfew? And would we be having this conversation? And is it appropriate for a coach to be having this conversation on behalf of someone else? I'm assuming Ben Stokes must be comfortable with someone talking about his mental well-being.
Does this give you any more of a picture to this? A few weeks ago, Stokes spoke about the fallout to the Ashes. And he said this, I couldn't stop thinking about Australia, and I couldn't stop thinking about the test summer coming up. Genuinely, it completely and usually consumed me. I feel like I'll be able to switch off from it for about half an hour, and then somewhere else I would get my iPad out and start writing notes and all this kind of stuff. It was just, I'd never experienced that before. I thought I'd gone into those places before, but after Australia, gosh, yeah, it was extreme. I mean, there's a lot going on.
That sounds to me like somebody that wants to right
the wrongs.
Yeah, and
there's a lot going on in that mind, clearly.
Yeah, but also you can't be the best or one of the best in your field if you're not willing to be as detailed and obsessed with what you're doing. So I took that more as a sporting good thing.
A call to action.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that Ben will suffer from, and they suffered as a result of it, was I felt his overzealous response to ex-players that had volunteered their opinion about the way that the Australian tour should be set up. Incidentally, all those ex-players had never actually won a tour in Australia, so given their expertise was strange, but notwithstanding it, he didn't. He'd said these things, which created a real backlash. So when he went out and stank it out, and he said, I'm not going to take advice from a bunch of has-beens, it created a whole load of other background noise. Because many England teams have gone over to Australia and been absolutely pumped.
Yeah.
And there's no difference in this one.
Yeah.
So I don't take that as someone crying out for help. You're talking about elite competitor here going, this ain't happening again, and it's on my mind
let me go
to be able to fix it.
Yeah.
So we heard from Brendan McCullum, the England coach, who says, amongst other things, I'm worried about Ben Stokes. Thus far, no public reaction from Ben Stokes as it stands. We're live in New York City. We're at the World Cup in the USA, and you're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney. We're coming to you from that fantastic New York skyline. We're in the 50th floor of the World Trade Center in partnership with Tool Station. Fast Track delivers to you from 30 minutes. First stop, Tool Station.
First player up front I've gone for Neymar.
No, mate, honestly.
What do you mean? Don't start. I'm giving Neymar a free roll as well.
Mate, Neymar, the most overrated footballer of his generation. I'm not having it.
Conde, don't.
No, I'm not having it.
Don't,
no,
mate. I'm a big Neymar.
No, he
doesn't overrate.
He does. The most overrated footballer of his generation.
Oh my God. At Barca.
No, not having him. Not having him. Not having him. One. No, not having it. Nope. That's the music stopped.
Conde, please,
no,
mate.
No, not Neymar.
Who's a better player? Neymar or Hazard?
R9. Oh, give me Hazard every day of the week, mate.
Oh,
mate, give me. Is it? No, don't get me on the Neymar.
Okay. R9's playing with him. R9's
take Neymar out.
But no, mate, come on. Neymar. Pace.
No.
Skill.
No, he's got a heart the size of a.
Yeah, but mate, he made you enjoy football watching him.
No, he made.
That's a typical centre half.
No, do you know? No, give me R9. Right, I'm not having Neymar. Not at any price.
Neymar, Suarez, Messi.
No, give me Hazard. Give me anyone. You don't want Neymar in your team, mate.
What do you mean?
You don't want Neymar in your team.
What he won with Barca?
What he won?
Well, he's part of it, mate. He was outstanding. Come on.
No. Here's a stat. When he left Barcelona, he never won a major honour again. And don't give me...
He left Barca for the dough, didn't he? Obviously, to PSG.
That goes down as a black market,
I know, but...
No.
Conde, we've become very close, mate.
No, I know, but we're going to fall out of a Neymar.
Yeah, it could be, mate.
No.
Please, mate.
No.
Wow.
No. No. Scrub him out.
Let's break.
Scrub.
All right. He's out. Thiago's in. Thiago, you in from Brentford. Go on, mate. You're in. Shows what you got. One season wonder. Go on.
It is Monday morning here in New York. We are coming up to 10 o'clock in the morning. You are coming up to 3 o'clock back home in the UK. Beautiful day, it seems, for us here in this great city. 1,500 miles away, we will find a former England international because in Dallas, Texas, England are getting ready to play Croatia, of course, and that one midweek is live on talkSPORT. The former England international is England legend Stuart Pearce, and he joins us live on the show. How is Dallas treating you, Mr. Pearce? Good morning.
Very good. I see you've been elevated to the heights you deserve, you gentlemen, in the background there. So fantastic. No, really good.
Excellent.
We had a great game yesterday in Japan and Holland in the Dallas Dome where England are going to be playing. So we're having a good time and enjoying the football.
Good stuff. England, Wednesday night. Croatia first up. Stuart, in your view, what are they facing in this Croatian side?
Well, they're facing an ageing side. They're facing a side that are probably not at their pomp as they were a couple of years ago. So I think it's a good game for us. Also, as well, with the roof shut in the dome, I think it'll be a good environment for them. There's been a lot of talk about the climate and whatever and what we face in the States and Canada and Mexico. But I think this will be a perfect opener for them, and I fully expect them to win the game.
Yeah, Stu, nice to see you again, mate. First of all, can you make your bed on the right-hand side, please? That's the first thing you do when you get up.
I've just got out of it. I might even be dipping back in it.
No, talking just about the stadium and the water breaks, with the temperature in there, obviously you was there. How was it? Was it more like a normal game back home in England, or did it still feel relatively warm?
They varied, Troy, to be fair. I mean, some of the games we've seen, obviously the England friendlies we covered first before doing yesterday's game, the Japan game yesterday. Yesterday's game probably didn't even need a drinks break, if truth be known. It was air conditioned, the roof was shut, it was a perfect environment. The games in Tampa and Orlando definitely needed a drinks break, no doubt about that. And I've sort of said before the tournament, it's really important that momentum, you know, some teams really don't need a break. They're on a high, they're doing particularly well. A little bit's been made, I think, after the drinks break. Brazil come out of it and scored shortly after. Jordan Pickford made a little bit of an error playing out from the back straight after the drinks break. So I don't know whether it's something that the coaches have got to hone a little bit, refocus some of the players during that, the players that maybe even switch off a little bit. These are finite details that you've got to look into.
Stu, I mean, you've been at various tournaments in and around the England setup, and obviously, as once upon a time, a big PR for Gareth Southgate. But in this instance,
yes,
we got Thomas Tuchel. What's the temperature of the England team like at this moment in time in terms of how they're approaching it in regards to the previous circumstances? Tuchel's been brought in my view, to try and win a World Cup. Whether he can or not is a different matter. Different kind of coach, different expectations. So what's your takeaway from the England setup right now and the sort of attitude, disposition and expectation amongst the squad?
Well, I think, Simon, they're trying to push this sort of, it's a really great atmosphere around it. But we see that time and time again, you know what I mean? That people look back and say, oh, it's a slightly better atmosphere around the squad than it was last time round. And you see that quite often. But I don't think you get the acid test until the games start, really. And I think we'll know a little bit more Wednesday with the performance, the result, that type of thing. But in the main, a lot of these players in that squad, certainly the key players especially, have got a lot of tournament experience. So they've been round the block. They know what it's about. That he's also included Jordan Henderson in it as a, you know, as a player and his ability, but also what he does off the pitch. So his influence, along with Harry Kane and Declan Rice and Rashford, they've all been around the tournament football quite a bit. Pickford as well. But it seems, from what we can gather, and we're sort of far from it slightly, that the atmosphere is good. They're all getting on pretty well, and he's been at pains to suggest that he's picked a squad that is harmonious. Time will tell on that, but that was his mentality, and that's the sort of the narrative that Tuchel's been pushing out.
Yeah, Stu, just to move that forward a little bit, everyone's always happy at this moment, are they, when there's no games been played and, you know, everything's all right and rosy. But when you think about it, the likes of Rashford, potentially Ivan Toney, who's a friend of mine as well, them boys not being involved in a later stage, how do you keep those guys happy and engaged?
The big thing for me it's what you do with numbers 12 to 26, how you get them on side. Hopefully, he's picked those players in his mind that he's going to keep on side. I always think whenever I used to take a team to a tournament, every day, the training session straight after the game, where some managers wouldn't be, they would just leave the assistant to take those players to go through. Half the group would be doing a recovery session, the starters, the other half will be training. I always made sure that the ones doing the recovery, you could leave that to your assistants. You had to have a visible face and talk to those players that are on the outside of it the day before. That's really important you do that. And as I say, you know full well, the beauty of it is nowadays you've got so many substitutes, everyone's going to have a taste of football. And hopefully if England do their work in the first two games, he can rotate the team so everyone's getting some match action in the group stages at least.
Stuart, just before you leave us to make that bed behind you, in all seriousness, what are your thoughts on Jude Bellingham's suggestion that off the field, in the past, maybe in Germany at the Euros, connections weren't quite right? In terms of squad harmony, etc., where would you go with that?
Everyone's got an individual takeaway from their experience at a major tournament as a player. I mean, I've seen it many times before. I've got to say, a lot of all age groups, you know, quite often players come back from a tournament where they've not delivered how they should have done performance-wise, and all of a sudden there's criticisms about the environment, about maybe the base camp, is it too quiet? All of these type of things come out, and I almost find it slightly comical, if I'm being honest with you. But Jude would have given an honest assessment of how he felt. Whether that was how everybody felt would be a symptomatic different equation, I don't know. But the bottom line is you do your best as a manager and a coaching staff to keep everyone involved, but individuals, some like being on the road, some don't like being on the road. You know, there's so many different personality traits. If you try to please everyone, you've got absolutely no chance, you know.
Yeah.
I always think as a player, you've got to turn up and you've got to give yourself to the group, and that's all you can do.
Stuart, terrific. Stuart Pearce with us live from Dallas as we get ever closer to England's opening game midweek against Modric and Croatia. Bit of breaking news. This is a developing story. Troy Deeney, who was going to do 2 of the 3 hours, has decided he's going to do 3 of the 3. Am I right?
Well, yeah, he just offered me a new contract. Simon's negotiated it for me, so yeah. We're doing all right, aren't we, Si?
We're doing good.
Yeah.
Job done. We're coming up to 3 o'clock back in the UK, 10 o'clock here in New York City, and we are live on talkSPORT.
I think you've got a couple of positions that Rashford, Gordon, the centre halves. I know Peter.
Saka one on the. You know, how fit is Saka?
Yeah, how fit is B? I think you look at it. Morgan Rogers. The big one is Morgan Rogers and Jude Bellingham. Who's going to start? Who's not going to start? Can you fit them both into?
Who's starting?
No, Benny, come on. For me, Morgan's had a fantastic couple of years at Aston Villa. Yeah. A fantastic couple of years. And to see what he's done for Man City when I played with him when he was coming up through the youth team to then go and do what he's done now, it's not shocked me, but it's a great step in the right direction to where he wants to be. But I think Jude's done it for season in, season out. Obviously, he's had a little bit of an injury season, we're going to say, but Jude's quality is still there.
Let me ask you then, Charlie, because you've been in an outside perspective, because all the fans, obviously English fans, are going to say, we're going to win it. And after last night, we're definitely going to win it. After what you saw last night, I know you're going to say England are one of the favourites, but can you see England winning it, or do you still think there are other nations out there that look better?
No, I do think there is other nations that have got a real good chance. I think I look at the Netherlands and I think they're probably a little bit of an outsider. But looking at the odds today, it's, you know, Brazil are probably, and Argentina, two South Americans. You'd expect a South American team to go there. I think it's a shootout for me between France and England. That's what I believe. I think that England have got a brilliant chance. Thomas has made the decision to go and leave these players, Foden, Palmer out, and he's made that decision. And I thought England were really good last night. I thought they'd go and like I say, for me, Stones plays because he can control the game for you in the heat. He's very good with the ball. Mark Gahey,
Talk Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Toby Gillis. Brendan McCullum has revealed his concern for the welfare of Ben Stokes, admitting there's no decision to be made on his future while their worry remains. The England captain and Gus Atkinson were dropped for this week's second test with New Zealand after breaking a curfew last week when they ended up in a fracas in a nightclub. McCullum only has thoughts about Stokes' welfare for now, though.
What will be down the line. Those decisions are not for now. The concern at the moment is making sure that Ben is fine, and we need to look after him, rally around him, and in time we'll get on to those sorts of decisions.
The Jose Mourinho revolution at the Bernabeu is officially underway. Marc Cucurella is now a Real Madrid player on a 6-year deal. He's earned Chelsea almost 52 million quid all in, meaning his 4 years of service have cost them about 11 million. talkSPORT's resident Blues fan Andy Jacobs isn't too worried after an underwhelming final campaign at Stamford Bridge.
When he wants to be, he's great, but that's not what he's been. So, you know, if you can get the money for him, fair enough, really. You want to keep people that are happy. You don't keep people that don't want to be there.
Just 2 days out from England's World Cup opener, it's emerged only 6% of fans who are subject to orders that prevent them from going to matches have handed over their passports. Part of the conditions of their banning orders are that they surrender the documents that allow them to travel during periods of international football. 114 such supporters have yet to do so. Remember, you can hear England-Scotland live on talkSPORT on Wednesday night. And it looks like being a lucrative day for Manchester United on two fronts. We understand Ruben Amorim has agreed to become AC Milan boss, which would save United a significant sum on the compensation they owed him after sacking him in January. Meanwhile, United will be the subject of Amazon's latest All or Nothing documentary, and it's believed they'll earn far more this season for their show than any previously featured club has.
Talk Sport News.
Arson attacks targeting the Prime Minister's properties originated in Russia, and social media firms reckon a ban on under-16s using their platforms could push them to unregulated sites. More with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, where we've got a wider range of premium tyres than Britain has rainy days. Visit your local centre or book at quickfit.com today.
Cloud on its way this evening with showers for the north and west at times, mostly dry and clear in the southeast though.
Good afternoon to everybody back home in the UK. It's 5 minutes past 3 o'clock your time on a Monday afternoon. Our time here in New York City, it's just gone 5 past 10 on this Monday morning. And what a morning. If you're watching live on YouTube, even live on Prime Video, you will see that unmistakable New York skyline, a fantastic sight at any time of the day or night. It rained here overnight. It's going to be a beautiful day here in New York, and we are ready for another day of World Cup action. It's Jim White, it's Simon Jordan, and it's Troy Deeney And as I say, we are live on the 50th floor of the World Trade Center. Just to let you know, later on this morning, before we go, later on afternoon, your time, of course, in this final hour, you're going to hear from former Manchester United player, World Cup winner, of course, with France, Paul Pogba, who we met yesterday here in this great city. And today, he's going to be talking about Manchester United's chances of winning a Premier League title under Michael Carrick. And then tomorrow, you will hear Pogba at more length, if you like, as he gets into France's chances at this World Cup finals and who may or may not excel like the Spanish, like England, for example, under Thomas Tuchel. And speaking of Thomas Tuchel, a German, do you get where I'm going, Simon, on this one?
Indeed.
You'll recognise the man to Troy's left. I am delighted to say that we have reunited with someone we got to know very well at the Euros in Germany. German football broadcaster Konstantin Eckner joins us live in studio here in New York. Konstantin, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Nice view.
You like it?
Coming off of the heels of a 7-1 win over Curaçao yesterday, so World Cup trophies in the bag, I guess.
I like it. What did you take out of that? What can you, as Germans, take out of that win?
That's hard to say, actually. I mean, of course, it was a historic moment for the opponents, for Curaçao, when Comendencia scored their first World Cup goal. I mean, that team in today's edition is only existing since 2010. So, I mean, it's a young team. They qualified because 3 CONCACAF teams were automatically qualified. In the end, you face basically a second division team, with all due respect to Curaçao, but it's a second, third division team. But still, Germany looked vulnerable before the first hydration break, defensively at least. So that's something they have to address now that they face the Ivory Coast on Saturday. Offensively, we know that Wirtz, Musiala, Havertz, they can score goals every day out of the week. So they will score again. But of course, Germany, if they want to go far, they can't concede any goals, or not as many goals as they have done in recent months and years.
Yeah. Troy, give us your take on the Germans.
Is that a concern for you, defensively, just how poor they did look at times? And how do you expect them to change and mentally engage as the tournament goes on?
I'm not really sure, because when we look back at the friendly they played in late March against Ghana, they dominated Ghana, 70% ball possession, something like that, right? They were leading 1-0. They conceded. They scored a winner late, but still, they conceded. Even a team that's better, but still was out of that depth. Germany dominated, still conceded a goal. Yesterday, they conceded a goal early against Curaçao, a team which is here for the vibes, basically, at this World Cup. It's for a good time, not for a long time. So,
you talk about Scotland?
All right. Yeah.
No,
well done, Troy. Excellent work.
Excellent work. Actually, Scotland, they might face Germany in the round of 32.
We look forward to that.
Yeah, of course.
We look forward to that.
And they have one of my favourite players, Scott
Konstantin, you're too dignified to get involved in a bit of Scotland bashing, unlike these two. Here's the thing. After disappointing group stage exits, 2018, 2022, do Germany come here, Konstantin, somewhat under the radar?
I don't think so, because it's Germany. It's the same with the Netherlands, for instance. They do sometimes not that well at the tournament. They come to the next tournament, they are still considered among the favourites, at least. I think it's the same with Germany. Of course, on the other hand, if you look at just the past 12 years, since winning the World Cup in 2014 against Argentina, since then they have only had 2 wins, against Sweden in 2018, against Costa Rica in 2022. So it's their 3rd win since that World Cup final at the World Cup tournament. So, I mean, it's crazy to think about those
crazy.
2 group stage exits.
How can that be? Where has it gone wrong?
Well, usually it went wrong with Germany. They controlled games a lot in 2018, 2022, but they never really established themselves as a threat in the imposing penalty area. And also, they were always vulnerable defensively or on build-up. They turned the ball over in their own half. They concede against Japan, for instance. Yesterday, they turned the ball over, concede against Curaçao. So there is a pattern there for the past, now 12 years, that Germany, they are great in a sense, but they are also not really great when it comes to just controlling a game entirely. They control only phases of a game, and that's the problem.
Lost a legend in Toni Kroos who could do that, right? Someone, a player of that ilk, they could do with right now to just keep the ball moving at certain times.
Yes and no. I mean, he played, of course, 2022, 2018. He came back for the Euros 2024 to play one more tournament, and then he retired altogether from football. Yeah, of course, he was crucial for the Germany team for years, but also with him and with Mesut Özil, with some of these greats of the past, they still went out after the group stage. So I'm not really sure. I mean, we have Felix Metscher now. You saw him yesterday against Curaçao. It's of course relatively speaking, but I think Metscher is one of these players we have to keep an eye on because he's a great footballer in terms of like his technical skills, but also he's one of the best athletes you can see. Yeah. That's why,
Constantine, let's talk about Julian Nagelsmann. How come he's brought the best out of Florian Wirtz this season? Because Slot's departure, Andoni Iraola's arrival, will that pave the way for a better version of Wirtz at Liverpool?
I think sometimes his season with Liverpool, his first one, wasn't that bad actually. There were games where he looked great, but he got never a chance to actually shoot from a promising position, for instance. Or he was in position, but he didn't get the ball. When you look sometimes at that all 22 like tactical view, sometimes he did great things, but the output wasn't there. And of course, Liverpool were in a slump for parts of that season. So he was also drowned down a little bit with all the other Liverpool players. But you're right, when he plays for Germany, under Julian Nagelsmann, he looks better, but also he has a different role. He's the key player. He's the pivotal point of that attack. Musiala might be playing as the number 10, but Wirtz, coming from the left, just as he did at Leverkusen, he's still kind of the playmaker coming from the left side. So that's why he looks better now and will look better at this tournament than he...
It's a huge fee, though, Troy. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, absolutely. But
that's why we expected more from him.
That's the key point.
Yeah.
He's the main man. Everything goes through him. And when you have those creative players, talk about Ozil, and I think to players that I played against, Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, they got the ball all the time. It doesn't matter if they made a mistake. One thing that Wirtz had to deal with going in at Liverpool is Mo Salah on the opposite side wants the ball every time. So that's where he struggles a little bit because there's a moment where, because Salah was so good the year before, players turn and go, we'll give it him anyway because he gets us out of trouble. Actually, the better pass sometimes was Wirtz to be done. So I think you'll see a much better version now of Florian Wirtz, of Ekitike, of Isak, because that big hole now has opened with Salah leaving the building.
Yeah. Germany has never been shy, it's fair to say, Constantine, in speaking out on political aspects at World Cups in recent years. We remember the players performing the infamous hand over the mouth photograph at Qatar. Are politicians in Germany still continuing to speak out in a similar way regards this tournament in this country, the United States?
They do it a little bit differently because you won't see many major politicians from Germany attending the games. They won't come. That's kind of... Yeah, they will, on occasions, will attend. I think one game will be attended by some members of the government, but they just won't come. That's their position right now. Of course, it's a bit different dealing with the United States, or especially with the United States, than dealing with Qatar, let's be honest. I mean, the United States are one of the major trading partners of the European Union and of Germany. So you have to approach it a little bit differently. You can't just go all out with your protest in a sense. But they still make a statement because they are not on good terms with Donald Trump.
What do you make of that, Simon? They stay away. I mean, the vice president of the German FA suggested a World Cup boycott, didn't he? Good. This man, Oke Göttlich, he suggested boycott the whole thing. The German politicians are staying away.
Good. Long may it continue. The less politicians that we have around the sport, the better it's going to be. We don't really need the background noise. These boys are out here to play in a football tournament. One understands that the media will want to have a fascination. We want to have a fascination with all things off the field because it adds content. But politicians being involved and indexing themselves to it, we've seen what that does in the past. We see it has no particular merit. They use it as a prism to create their own particular opportunities as a result of it. So I'm delighted to hear the less politicians that we have from the less nations, the more interesting the tournament will be without the background noise to serve their particular ends.
Is his view the same view of the German public?
It's funny sometimes. You mentioned Oke Göttlich, who's the chairman of St. Pauli, famously left-leaning Bundesliga, second Bundesliga side. So of course he comes from a bit of a different point of view.
Trump,
yeah. And of course when he calls for a boycott, I mean, of course he's speaking for his members and on behalf of his members who are left-leaning, who don't want to have anything to do with a conservative like Donald Trump. Right. I get it, right? it was funny in the sense because in March or so, those discussions publicly were held about boycotting or whatever. Now that the tournament has started, the German public doesn't really care about that anymore. They just want Germany to win. They just want to beat France in the round of 16. They want to beat Tuchel's England in the final. So that's like the discussion right now.
Sure. Tuchel's England in the final. See their eyes light up there when you said that.
You see how we wasn't surprised?
And I noticed you weren't surprised.
Yeah. Scotland are just happy to be here.
Obviously,
Constantine,
Harry Kane's Bayern.
It is good to reacquaint ourselves with your good self. Constantine's going to stay on because in our next part, in this final hour of the show today, we'll talk all things Harry Kane, of course, who's had a phenomenal season at Bayern Munich. And we will talk about the man, Thomas Tuchel. We're live in talkSPORT from New York City this Monday morning here in this part of the world, Monday afternoon back home in the UK.
I think when you look at Bellingham, especially like the last game, you know, he started the game and within the first 10 seconds, he had pressed the ball and he went out for a throw-in, and that sets a tempo, doesn't it? But something about him, Neil, I'm with you. It's like he knows that this country should be winning World Cups, and he's got that bite about him when I watch him play.
It's just the arrogance. I love the arrogance. I must tell you, when he was at Birmingham, I remember playing against him. I think he was 16 years. I had a good, tough lad in midfield, and I said, "Listen, you're playing against a kid tonight. Just sort him out. Just, you know, normal thing. Get stuck in, and he'll not want to know." And he actually ran the game, and I was watching him. I was thinking, bloody, I've never seen anybody like this at that age.
Yeah. No,
He's amazing, he was.
You need the character. See, people sometimes, in football, you need an arrogance about you, all right?
Yes.
And to do what he's done at an age that he is, go to Germany, now he's gone to one of the biggest, if not the biggest club in the world, and he knows, he feels like he belongs there. That takes a certain confidence and arrogance. And I think sometimes, Neil, it can be misinterpreted by the public.
Yeah.
That there's an arrogance that they don't quite understand.
No, I think it is by the public, but I think managers, you want that bit of arrogance from players like him, because if you're going to win anything, your top players have got to come forward, and he's that one that when he's on fire, he knows he can do anything he wants in that middle, and I just love that, mate. I just, you know, I watched him in that 90 minutes, and I thought he was the one that really pleased me more than, even though I'm glad that we've gone back to the wide lads. I love the wide lads. You know, Gordon, Mediocre, Saka, Rashford. In playing them four, they could win us the bloody cup if they all get the finger out.
I think as well for me, Neil, you know, in the last 6-7 months, all I've heard is, from some people in the media, idiots, I might call them, Bellingham, no, you know, look what Thomas Tuchel said, you know, he's made other players feel like they can't play, the pressure he puts on them. I'm like, if you're a senior pro and Bellingham's affecting your game, then you need to have a word with yourself, because why don't you look at what...
You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney. We are live in talkSPORT in this fantastic studio on the 50th floor of the World Trade Center in partnership with Tool Station. First stop, Tool Station. Another beautiful morning here in New York. During that last commercial break, Troy Deeney, who is now settled in New York City, I noticed Simon was asking Troy about house prices here in this part of the world, which makes me very optimistic, almost joyful when I heard that, the prospect of Simon house hunting over here. My God, what a break that would be for all of us. Konstantin Eckner wants to talk football, and more specifically, German football, because Konstantin is one of the top German football broadcasters in that part of the world and joins us live here in studio. Konstantin, it's so good to see you again. Following the Euros, it seems like that since we saw you last in Dusseldorf, and now we're over here at the World Cup finals in New York, in the USA.
It hasn't worked with you every day. It's dragged for me the last 2 years, I can tell you.
Has it dragged? Is that why you're house hunting?
You're
with
like
Troy?
an old couple.
Oh, I can see when the cameras are off.
I cannot wait to see the two of them off into the streets of New York with their real estate brochures this lunchtime. Let's talk Thomas Tuchel, Konstantin. Is there a thought, in Germany at least, Konstantin, that Tuchel could mean the difference for England between winning this thing and not winning it?
It would be historic. There are 22 World Cup winning teams in history. All of them had domestic coaches. So it would be the first time that a foreigner actually coached a team to a World Cup title. Because before that never happened, right? So it would be historic in that sense. And I think when we are looking at Thomas Tuchel and his career, in crucial moments, there are only two pathways basically for Thomas Tuchel. He will blow the doors off and win the title, or he will blow the doors off and set the building on fire and leave. So I guess that's what it is. It's also when we look at his player selection, right? Excluding Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, for instance, maybe not using Jude Bellingham as a starting 11 player. So of course he creates, or he produces a lot of enemies for himself. If he's winning, it's great. If he's not winning, it's over for him.
Right.
And that's kind of his approach, right?
It's either one or the other.
Yes. There's no in-between for Thomas Tuchel.
See, we've touched on this before, Simon, have we not? With reported fallouts at his previous clubs. International management, Simon, might suit his personality more.
Yeah, I mean, I've alluded on a number of occasions that domestically having him in as a manager is very difficult for people because of the manner that he operates. I quite like people that are all in, that you have no debate about what they expect and no debate about their principles. I think sometimes you should be able to pivot and adjust to them based upon your circumstances, but have a central value set. So I quite like that scenario. And whilst I had resistance to the idea of having him as domestic coach, because of the things I've just spoken about and the things that Konstantin alludes to, internationally, I'm quite intrigued by his decision to go in an international manager direction at this stage in his career, because he feels to me like a very hands-on guy, and B, how he will translate, because my view is that with Southgate, and it's not a criticism of Gareth, Konstantin, there was always this missing gene, this winning gene, this real winning gene. And Thomas Tuchel, to me, is an elite manager, and I think he makes a hell of a lot of difference in key moments, and we're going to see this in this tournament, is my view.
That's also my argument in favor of Tuchel, is when there's a moment like semi-finals against Croatia, final against Italy, you name it, right?
Quarters against the French,
and then you can do two things, of course. You can do like Arsenal did in the Champions League final. You score maybe, then you lay back,
hold on,
maybe create a shell and hope for the best. Or you go all out. And Thomas Tuchel takes a lot of risks, even in those moments. Of course, it can still backfire, but I think it's a better approach compared to what Southgate did in those knockout stage games, where England weren't the worst team usually, but they never got over the line because Southgate never pushed them, really.
But people you can enjoy losing that way, can't you? You like people going out on your shield.
I agree.
I was there at the Italian game, and it was like,
something's going to happen.
You can feel it coming, but it was coming against us. When you're watching the games, whether it's football, whether it be boxing, which we like, you want to see someone go out on the shield, and then you go, okay, it wasn't good enough, no problem, we can live with that. It's when we know there's more in the tank. And I think this is where Arsenal come into like a little bit of criticism as well, because the feeling around Arsenal, there's more you can give us. And even though they've been successful, that feeling around it. And I think that's your point there about England.
Konstantin, as always, you have your finger on the pulse of German football. Harry Kane What is the latest on the new Bayern contract for Kane?
The Bayern are very optimistic that they will extend with him, and there are no signs right now that he won't extend the contract and that he doesn't want to stay in Munich and with Bayern Munich. There's something left on the table. It's a Champions League trophy, which Harry Kane wants to win with Bayern. They right now are, if you are looking at the European power ranking, so to speak. And there's maybe Paris on top, but I think Bayern are among the top 3 teams, so there is still a chance for him to win the Champions League title with Bayern Munich. And also his family and he himself, they feel very comfortable living in Munich, where they are usually left on their own. There are no paparazzi photographers chasing him down. I mean, the only pictures you see in the newspaper right now is maybe him walking the park with his family. But there's nothing like, no yellow pages.
That's as controversial as it gets.
Yes, no, yeah.
Can I ask you about Alonso? Obviously, we saw him in German football be an unprecedented success and produce a team that only was invincible but was easy on the eye at times as well. We didn't see it translate at Real Madrid. There's a lot of noise about Chelsea and what they are and what they aren't. There's a perspective that this manager could have been recruited by many of the big teams, and the fact he's alighted upon Chelsea surprised people. So what are they getting? What are Chelsea getting with Alonso? Are they getting the guy that was drop-kicked out of Real Madrid and couldn't cut it? Or are they getting this guy that somehow achieved this phenomenal outcome by Leverkusen?
I believe that he didn't really do anything with Real Madrid. It's more down to the team chemistry right now at the Bernabeu. And I think that's why they actually hired Jose Mourinho, who tactically is not like one of the best anymore, but he might be one of the best to actually still mold the team, bring out a winning mentality, even if he has... I know 10 divas who are getting into training fights and whatnot. That's what's
so what about
happening
Alonso,
right now.
though? I mean, Alonso coming to Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't really think that Alonso is that type of coach. He wants to have young players and players he can mold, he can form. That's what he did at Bayer Leverkusen. He had young players like Wirtz, but he also brought in a couple of older players who are not that accomplished. Granit Xhaka, Alejandro Grimaldo, who are good, but he wanted them because then he could form a team. He's very good at team building. He couldn't do that at Real Madrid. I think Chelsea right now, with that 50-player squad they have, basically, because of all the loan players and all the players they signed, look at the World Cup, I think he sees a team that could be built to win titles. And if they leave him and don't interfere with him, I guess he might be able to do that.
How good is he? Is he as good as the Leverkusen record suggests?
That 1 year was a little bit of an outlier because the year after it came back to normal. They were still great. They were still the second best team in the Bundesliga. They didn't really lose players in that one summer when he stayed there, but it looked more normal. So I think he is a good coach, but he's not, let's say, the best Premier League coach right now. He's maybe among the 5 or 7 best. So, but I think right now he's hired by Chelsea, or has been hired by Chelsea, because they want someone who can actually form a team, because that's what they didn't do in the past few years.
You have to leave.
Konstantin, you're about to say Auf Wiedersehen to us today, but just for now, before you leave us, in a sentence, who wins the World Cup?
I believe Argentina will win the World Cup.
Wow.
Yes.
That's the first time I've heard that, because, Troy, most people are going either France, Spain.
Yeah, I think Argentina are just 4 years. It's more or less the same team, but 4 years older now. I don't see it, but they've won it last time out. So
how far did Germany go?
Germany might only go to the round of 16 when they will face France and might get eliminated by France.
That means they'll beat Scotland, is what you're saying, Jim.
Yeah, they will beat Scotland.
Easily, right?
I will never forgive you for that. How far do England go? How far do England go, Konstantin?
I guess semi-finals at best, maybe quarter-finals. I believe a couple of other teams like Spain, France, Argentina are better. It depends a little bit on the brackets and when they will face who. But I don't believe they are among the 2 or 3 best teams right now. They are a little bit behind them in the pecking order.
Oh, that was interesting. What was really interesting is that you were nodding to that.
I'm not Argentina, no, but I was nodding to the fact that they're going to pump Scotland, yes.
OK, oh, was that it? Konstantin, thank you. It's great to see you again, and hopefully you'll be joining us here in this great studio on the 50th floor of the World Trade Centre. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan, Troy Deeney and Konstantin Eckner. We're live on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First stop, Toolstation.
Another question that I constantly get asked is, what is the difference between Thomas Tuchel and Gareth Southgate? And obviously you had Gareth Southgate in 2018, and there's the argument to say, without the success that you had from 2018 to 2024, we wouldn't have Thomas Tuchel necessarily in charge of the England squad. So from your point of view, what is the difference between the two, and how is Thomas maybe taking it to that next step as we've progressed?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, a fantastic job Gareth did in all that time, reconnected England national team with the fans in 2018. That was a big challenge, and we stepped up, and the manager and the staff at the time stepped up and rose to the occasion. We never got the final, but we reconnected with the fans, and that was Gareth's main out of that tournament. That was what we needed to do. I know we wanted to dream big and wanted to get the final, but that journey we came on as a group of players, that's driven us to now. You know, that them stepping stones to get to the final with and fall short in the final to get quarters in Qatar, fall short unfortunately, then get another final against Spain. Then that created, but then the squad evolves, the manager evolves, and the manager now, Thomas, he's a winner. He drives winning mentality. He won at Chelsea. He wins where he goes, and his passion, his desire. I think two different managers with great respect in the game, and there's not a bad word to say about either of them.
That winning mentality, does this group of players, do you believe this time you can go and win it, and why, if you do?
Yeah, I think we believe every time we put a shirt on that we're going to win every football match. You've got to have that mentality going into football as well. So, but I think the manager, I think the passion he'll bring out, and the team talks, I think he'll step it up.
Are they special, the team talks?
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're quality, to be fair.
Marc Cucurella has officially joined Real Madrid, just under 52 million quid all in, and he's signed a 6-year deal. Here's Alan Pardew, who can see why he was a wanted man.
There's been a couple of times when he's been up against, I think Yamal was sticks in my mind. Yamal, where he done an absolutely brilliant job on him. So, you know, now and again, he can really keep a winger quiet. And he has that great ability to get forward as well.
Now, the headlines are hard to read, but he's got the X factor. That's according to Jordan Henderson on all the slander put to Jude Bellingham's name. So what fuels it? Only last week, Darren Bent told us he's uncomfortable with it too.
People calling him overrated, saying he's not good enough. Some people saying he shouldn't start for England. Now, I can't understand that. I don't understand how you think Jude Bellingham, the moments he's had for England, big goals. Even the other day, he didn't score, but the way he plays when he gets on the ball, he creates things. He's done so much in such a short space of time.
Meanwhile, it'll be the victors and possibly Donald Trump on the podium for the World Cup trophy lift, as FIFA have confirmed they won't stop the US president repeating his Club World Cup stunt. Elsewhere, it looks like Man United are about to save a few quid. Ruben Amorim's understood to have agreed to become AC Milan manager, which would massively reduce the compensation United have to pay him for his sacking. And Maro Itoje's once again been left out of the England squad by Steve Borthwick, despite an enlarged 33-man group being selected ahead of the non-cap international with France on Friday.
We're live in New York. Still the middle of the morning here, just gone at 10:30 in New York City, 3:30 back home for you guys in the UK. Simon and myself and Troy Deeney coming to you from the 50th floor of the World Trade Center. And remember, straight after us today, live commentary on talkSPORT of Spain versus Cape Verde. This 2026 World Cup very much up and running here in the United States of America. In the summer of 1990, Alan Rothenberg was elected chief of the US Soccer Federation. He later became chair and chief executive of the 1994 US World Cup, and he masterminded the tournament that changed the shape of soccer in the United States. I'm delighted to say that Alan Rothenberg joins us live on the show today. Alan, how are you? How do we find you?
I'm in a very happy mood today. Still glowing in the amazing success of the U.S. team Friday night.
Oh, of course. And you're quite right to do so. Alan, when you look back, how much of a game changer was the 94 World Cup for soccer in this country?
Well, it launched everything. Actually, you can go back to 84 in the Olympics when soccer was an overwhelming success, which is what led FIFA to take the risk, the big gamble, to bring the World Cup to the United States. But once it started, the U.S. Soccer Federation was really an all-volunteer organization, and we had to put together a management team, build a men's national team, and put on the 94 World Cup. All of those, fortunately, came together with great success, and that led to the creation of Major League Soccer. We had a huge financial surplus, which we used to fund a nonprofit U.S. Soccer Foundation, which has been funding soccer programs, particularly in underserved communities, for the last 30 years. And it also led to our being able to persuade FIFA that the 99 Women's World Cup should be played in major stadiums. Up until then, they had said play them in the Northeast only and in small stadiums. And we convinced them that we could fill large stadiums around the country as we had in 94, and that was huge. So from 90 on, it's been a steady progression. 94 was the jolt. If any part of those three things, either the team, the organization, or the management of U.S. soccer had fallen short, while inevitably soccer would have taken off in this country, the launch would have been postponed for a serious amount of time.
Right, so you always had a clear vision of what you wanted the legacy to be, and you achieved it. Alan, how much of a sense of pride do you have that all these years on, we're all here in the US for the 2026 World Cup finals? How proud are you of that?
Couldn't be more proud. It's been a great journey. Obviously, while I was at the head of it, so I get the credit. The reality is we have thousands of people who worked on it at various levels, some paid, some volunteers, but it really was a team effort and continues to be a team effort to grow the sport in the United States.
What do you expect, Alan? I mean, the 94 tournament catalysed the MLS, and we've seen the sport develop. We're now seeing statistics that suggest, from a participation point of view, that it's the third biggest sport in the US behind the NBA and the NFL. What do you think the likely catalyst is from this tournament in terms... I spent some time with Don Gerber and Dan Countermatch talking about what their ambitions are for the MLS and how they think they can break into the 5 or 6 biggest domestic leagues in the world. Do you think that this tournament will catalyse that outcome?
Absolutely. I think that the result of 2026 is going to move soccer to yet another plateau, another level, which is going to mean more resources for the MLS, more resources for the women, even though this is the men's tournament. And what people have not been paying enough attention to is the fact that the U.S. just last month opened a magnificent $250 million training center. And that's going to be a game changer. And they were able to raise that kind of money, first of all, because of a very generous gift from Arthur Blank. But then beyond that, by selling sponsorships. And the catalyst for selling those sponsorships was the coming of 2026. Having that trainer center is going to mean that for the first time, we can bring all our teams from the youth on to the top level of professional into one place, train together, get to know each other, get to develop a style which is going to make the team even that more competitive. So 2026.
Is a lot of that, Alan, pivotal on how well the US do in this tournament? Does it happen irrespective? Say the US, and they've had a great result against the Paraguayans, and that's a fantastic start. You've imported a European coach with a big reputation. I've spent some time over here watching some of the quality. I put a team over here, Crystal Palace, 20 odd years ago in the PDG, and watched the standard and seeing it evolve. But is a lot of the success for the MLS and the future investment predicated upon the US national team doing well? Because one of the things that you're missing is big broadcast deals, and big broadcast deals bring revenue.
The better the team does, the better off we'll be. The fact of the matter is, as long as the team is credible, and I think that means get it to the round of 16, which I think just based on that one game we're very likely to do. I think it will be deemed an on-pitch success. But the tournament itself is just so huge, and it's going to be so popular that it will lead to what you just said, more value on the media rights. And that's the one place that MLS has lagged behind. You know, their average attendance last year was higher than the average attendance in the NBA and the NHL. The Economist did a poll recently that had soccer as the third most popular sport in the country after football and basketball. And so that part is established. But if the team does really well, plus the tournament is the success I'm sure it's going to be, the media is going to have greater interest, sponsors are going to have greater interest, and also the competitive situation is a lot different. Back in the 90s, we were happy to get on live television in the first place. But the fact of the matter is you basically had 3 networks, then there was cable. But now with the streaming services, you still have the 3 networks. Excuse me, the 4 networks now. The cable, while it's fading, is still there. But more important, the giants in the streaming area, the Apples, the Netflixes, the Primes, the Amazon Primes, and now just today it was announced that Fox was buying Roku. They have huge amounts of money, and they are getting into live sport. And so I think that MLS and the U.S. national team is going to have some great positioning following 2026 for their media rights.
I think you're right, Alan. And soccer in the World Cup, of course, itself at this level has come a long way from the 90s. And you, Alan Rothenberg, have had a big part to play in that. Alan, thank you so much for joining us this lunchtime here in the US and mid-afternoon back home in the UK. Much appreciate you joining us, Alan.
Glad to do it. Let me put a plug in for my book, The Big Bounce, which kind of highlights all the things we did in the 90s. The Big Bounce, you ought to buy it.
You bet we will. Alan, thank you for that. In all good bookstores right now. Alan Rothenberg with us live on the show. Before we go today, you'll hear from the man I bumped into yesterday who spoke about France, who spoke about Spain at this World Cup, and who spoke about Manchester United's chances of winning the Premier League title anytime soon. Paul Pogba. You'll be hearing from him before we go at the top of the hour.
let's go to Scott, who obviously is a Scotland fan. Hi, Scotty. Morning to you.
Good morning, Scott.
Morning, Andy. Morning, Gabby. How you doing?
All well, mate.
You got a day off today?
No, mate. I've just pulled into work, unfortunately.
Okay. How's your head?
It's all right, mate. I've had a day off to recover from it, but I'm buzzing. I'm still buzzing. I think it's fantastic for Scotland to be there. I think I'm a pragmatic fan. The game was pretty rubbish, and as you keep on mentioning, Andy, they were 82nd in the world, so we know who we've beaten. But yeah, I think it's great for Scotland, and we've waited a long time for
Why
this.
would you keep saying that, Andy?
My producer writes it down for me.
No, he doesn't.
That's how it works in TV and radio. You've got scripts sometimes to go into audio.
I'm sorry
Nothing to
about
do
him,
with me.
Scott. I'm going to be more positive, mate. I am watching the game, listening to the national anthem. It's gone viral. The passion from the Scottish fans is amazing, isn't it?
It's unbelievable the noise that we make.
Yeah.
We're just there to enjoy it. We're absolutely buzzing, and I'm from Aberdeen as well, from a small town these days, and just to see the streets just absolutely packed at 5 a.m. was just fantastic.
How far can you go in the World Cup, do you think, realistically?
Realistically, I think watching Morocco-Brazil, I think Morocco are the dark horse here. I
agree.
honestly think if we're going to get another point, I think it comes from Brazil, and I know people are going to laugh at that.
No, you're right.
I think Morocco were.
Can I ask,
fast for us.
do you think Morocco are the dark horse, or do you think that Brazil are just poor?
A bit of both. I
Yeah.
think Brazil are filled with unbelievable talent as usual, but I think in the England team that I grew up with in the mid-2000s, they were just filled with people like Gerrard, Lampard, etc., and they just don't know what to do with them as a unit.
I think there's a lot of pressure on Brazil as well back home. There's so much pressure on them to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
All right, straight after us here in New York, Spain opened their World Cup campaign against Cape Verde. Adrian Durham brings you that one with commentary from Adam Bridge and Darren Bent. And Adam has the team news for us now. Adam, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Jim. So Spain, the European champions, enter the fray then with 7 players that started that 2022 World Cup defeat to Morocco. Simon gets the nod ahead of David Raya in goal. Cucurella celebrates his move to Real Madrid by starting at left back, and Gavi is preferred to Bina, who started the last warm-up game against Peru. Lamine Yamal is only fit enough for the bench. As for Cape Verde on their debut, Vozinha is the 9th player over the age of 40 to appear in a World Cup. Ryan Mensch is their leading cap holder and goal scorer. He captains the side. Livramento will be up front. He's quick, not quick as Darren Bent, who's alongside me. Kick-off in Atlanta is at midday local time, 5 p.m. UK time.
Terrific. Thank you very much indeed. Back home, we're hearing that Russell Martin is likely to be confirmed at Leicester today, reportedly signing a 3-year deal. In the meantime, it's time for this.
Football form roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. The world's gone football. Get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Yeah, time now to catch up on the odds thanks to Sky Bet. We're joined by Ross Williams from Sky Bet to look at today's football and discuss the latest odds around and about them. Ross, hi to you. What about the value, if any, in Germany?
Hi Jim, how things are wild? Yeah, Germany are interesting yesterday. Obviously, professional performance in the end after that initial scare, after the equaliser. Still 14-1 to win the tournament overall. Still 6 teams ahead of them in the betting, pretty steady after what was meant to be quite an easy assignment, ended up being an easy assignment. Interesting though, customers are getting behind that, but customers are starting to get behind that a little bit. 9,500 have already backed Germany to win the World Cup at the end of this tournament, and why not with a price at 14-1 on offer. The interesting one that's kind of coming a little bit is Kai Havertz, actually, obviously bagging twice yesterday in the Golden Boot market. He's 17-2 now. Kai Havertz joined those kind of top guys at the top of that list. Obviously, penalty take, a big tick for Germany. Goals to be got, I think, as well in the rest of the group stages. So Kai Havertz potentially one to look at in the Golden Boot market at the moment.
Yeah, what about a super boost for Belgium versus Egypt? What have you got, Ross?
Yeah, we've got a super boost in that one. It's been a bit of a Prem takeover so far, hasn't it? Particularly yesterday, Isak on the board, Virgil van Dijk, obviously Havertz, as I said. Gone 2 familiar names with Belgium and Egypt. We've gone Jeremy Doku for the Belgian side and Mo Salah, of course, on Egypt. So we've gone for a shot on target for the pair of them. 3-1, that is the Sky Bet super boost today. It's also Mo Salah's birthday, I believe. He turns 34 today, so hopefully he can mark that by getting on target for the Egyptians.
Excellent. Happy birthday, him. And you're on upset watch. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Third game today, Saudi Arabia going in against Uruguay. Cast your mind back 4 years, you're looking at Saudi Arabia, Argentina. Obviously, Argentina go on to win the World Cup in remarkable circumstances. Saudi Arabia beat them in the group stage. Let's not forget, it was 2-1 back in Qatar. Similar kind of scenario for Saudi Arabia today. South American opposition in Uruguay. The 13-2 Saudi Arabia to get the win. The 7-4 double chance to bring the draw into the equation as well. Uruguay, yes, they've got a little bit extra talent. Yes, they've got Marcelo Bielsa managing them, but the form line isn't great for the Uruguayans. They haven't won in 4, and I think crucially, they haven't scored more than 2 goals in almost a year now. It's been 7 games since they've scored more than 2 goals in a game, so they kind of play with the food a little bit. Even in the games where they do go on to win against so-called lesser opposition, they let teams hang around. They're going to let Saudi Arabia hang around potentially, and if it's anything like 4 years ago, who knows?
Okay, Ross, thank you very much indeed. Good job from you. That was a look at the latest odds thanks to Sky Bet. Remember, 18+, gambleaware.org.
Football Form Roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. Download the Sky Bet app and get in on it with Sky Bet. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Of course, as you might imagine, with the World Cup up and running, some of the biggest names in world football are descending on this part of the world. In New York, in Brooklyn yesterday, I caught up with one Paul Pogba, who speaks to me, and you'll hear it more at length tomorrow, who speaks to me on France, their chances of winning the World Cup this time around, on Spain and their chances, and on, more specifically, at club level, Manchester United and what they may or may not do under Michael Carrick. Have a listen. This is Pogba on United under Carrick.
Yeah, I mean, I play with him, and I had him also as a coach. He's really close to the players. He knows the game, and I think he can really bring something to this team. He did show that when he came here, the team changed totally, and it was going to be a big test next season for them, for sure.
Can Manchester United win the Premier League under Michael Carrick?
Yes. Yeah, I think Manchester United will win the next years. They're going to be champion of Premier League. If Arsenal can be champion, Manchester United will definitely be champion.
Wow.
It's a big statement. It's a big statement.
Yeah.
No disrespect.
But you're a big player and you can say these things.
Yes. I believe they will.
So how long?
In the next 5 years.
In the next 5 years,
they're going to win.
Manchester United under Carrick will win it in the next 5 years.
Yes, yeah. I believe so. Maybe I'll go far next 5 years. I'll probably say next 3 years.
Next 3 years.
My opinion.
Yeah.
I think they can make it the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Paul Pogba, he took 2 years off it at the end there, and he said, no, not 5 years, in the next 3 years. He thinks Manchester United will win the Premier League title. Troy, do you agree with him?
Absolutely not. No, I really don't. I think there's this thing now, when you've played with a player or you've worked with a player, you're apparently just meant to just say all the nice things. Carrick did a very good job. I don't know Michael, I wish him all the best, but he did a good job in a short space of time. We haven't seen him work under 3 games in a week. We haven't seen is Bruno Fernandes going to have an unbelievable year again like he did this year, a historic one? We don't know. What they're going to do in the transfer market, there's so many variables that we don't know. But apparently in this small sample size now, they're going to win the league in 3 years. So that means Arsenal are going to get worse. That means Liverpool are going to get worse. That means Man United are going to get better than Man City and Chelsea in that same time period. I can't see it.
What he does say, Simon, is that Manchester United are in very capable hands in Michael Carrick. He knew him as a player, he knows him now as a coach.
Yes and no. I mean, look...
Don't you sit on the fence?
I mean, I don't think Carrick has really been properly tested, but I think it's very difficult to test him in a circumstance because you've ultimately got to create a situation of adversity and judge him in that.
Yeah.
Now, I think his managerial career begins now because he has a pre-season where players are no longer grateful for him picking them up and playing them the way they wanted to play, with Amorim in the background of their minds in the last 8 years of Amorim. So I look at it and say, I doubt it. I doubt it. Yes, there's a few clubs in flux. I think Liverpool, Chelsea and Man City are all in slight flux because of management changes, but I don't see Man United under Michael Carrick winning the Premier League, no.
And the full interview with Paul Pogba tomorrow on this very show from New York City. Simon, I thank you. Troy Deeney, good to see you. You two are off to the estate agents because we're going to buy a house together.
Simon just gave it the seal of approval, so I can get it now.
You'll wait a long time for that. Thank you for being with us this morning in New York. Thank you for being with us back home in the afternoon in the UK. Up next, it is Spain against Cape Verde. Enjoy. We're back tomorrow.